Chapter 1740. The Level 12 alchemists thought that they had reached an agreement, but the judge didn't dare to be so blatant. He could only sacrifice him and kick him out of the arena. Yi Qinghan didn't have any sympathy for him. This kind of trash shouldn't be able to survive in the alchemy world. If he had bad intentions, he would ruin things sooner or later. The competition continued. After half an hour, Qin Xianxian successfully congealed her pills. The second batch of pills came out with a total of 15 spirit congealing pills. She wasted some ingredients and the pills were of different grades. Half of them were low grade, 30% were middle grade, and only 20% were high-grade spirit congealing pills. Qin Xianxian took a deep breath, gathered her spirit, and continued to concoct pills. She used a total of 4 hours to concoct all 6 batches of pills. One batch was wasted, but her success rate was pretty good. One batch of spirit congealing pills was high grade, which gave her a lot of points. Advancing to the next round wasn't a problem. Nanyuan Zhengbei's divine sense swept past Qin Xianxian. His face was full of smiles. This kind of result had exceeded his expectations. Advancing to the next round was a sure thing. The others were still concocting pills. The judge had already given Qin Xianxian a score. According to the overall result, Qin Xuanxuan's time and product were considered good, but her score was very low. It was only average. Whether she could advance to the next round with such a score was still unknown. Yi Qinghan couldn't control the judge's score. Moreover, the score hadn't been announced yet. He didn't know what kind of score it was. Everything would only be known after the others finished. 100,000 people couldn't compete at the same time. There were only 10,000 people in this round. The first round of the competition would take 2 days. After Qin Xianxian finished her first round of competition, Yi Qinghan brought her back to the Yu clan to cultivate. With the help of Qin Xuanxuan's yin and yang balance, they cultivated the dual cultivation technique. Not only did it help Qin Xianxian increase her strength and perfect her control of the fire source, it also helped Yi Qinghan control the blue demon fire and increase his vitality. In these 3 days they didn't leave the room. Both of them improved quite a bit. At this point, Qin Fenghua no longer wanted to interfere with Qin Xuanxuan's actions. He hoped that Qin Xianxian would be able to conquer Yi Qinghan and keep him in Fire Beacon City. Therefore, the two of them were not disturbed during their cultivation. Yi Qinghan was a virgin after all, and was also a Sector Lord Level 6 expert. Yi Qinghan had benefited a lot recently, and his control of the blue demon flame was almost perfect. On the third day, the announcement of the advancement time for the first round of the Alchemy Master competition was made. Thousands of forces and millions of people were waiting eagerly, hoping that their alchemists would advance to the next round. Qin Xianxian, Qin Fenghua, and Yu Congxing went to the square early in the morning to check the result. Yi Qinghan was meditating on the true essence of the blue demonic flame in his room. He wasn't prepared to check the result. After all, with Qin Xuanxuan's results, it shouldn't be a problem for him to advance. But at that moment there was a rapid knock on his door. Yi Qinghan frowned and waved his hand to open the door. Seeing Qin Xuanxuan's face full of tears and anger, he could not help but ask, "What's the matter?" "I was eliminated. The alchemy competition was rigged. With my results, how could I not pass the first round?" "Master, why don't you go and ask Senior Nanyuan?" "I can't accept this." Qin Xianxian happily went to check the results, but returned disappointed. More than 30,000 people advanced, but she couldn't. It was a bit laughable. Yi Qinghan's eyes revealed a trace of suspicion. He asked in disbelief, "Are you sure you were eliminated?" Just based on that furnace of high-grade spirit-gathering pills, it was enough to advance. Moreover, you only wasted one furnace. How could it be fake? Grandfather and Grandpa, you have already checked a few times. They are very sure that I was eliminated. Right now, Su Zhongxiao and the Wang clan are probably surrounding me and asking for the 15 million. Qin Xianxian said in exasperation. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and clenched his fist. After a moment, he put on his bamboo hat, carried the oilcloth-wrapped dark gold rod, and quickly left the Yu clan with Qin Xianxian. Xiao, Yi Qinghan pulled Qin Xianxian and rushed to the public square. There was a group of people in the public square who were arguing loudly, as if they were arguing about something. Qin Fenghua, you have a written agreement with the image stone as proof. Leave the 15 million here, or I will report this to the Alchemist Association. Su Zhongxiao said coldly as he led a group of people from the Wang family to stop Qin Fenghua. Qin Fenghua's face was flushed red. He was extremely angry. If it wasn't for Yu Tsongxing, he would have exploded. The alchemy competition was rigged. My granddaughter refined a furnace of high-grade spirit-gathering pills. The other 2 elixirs also refined more than 1 furnace each. How could she be eliminated? I want to appeal. Qin Fenghua shouted angrily. Are you doubting the fairness of the alchemy competition? Are you doubting the moral quality of Master King of Medicine and Master Nan Yuan Zhengbei? Are you doubting the fairness of the alchemists in the Alchemist Association? Su Zhongxiao asked loudly. He wanted to attract the attention of some alchemists. As expected, some alchemists who did not understand the situation immediately came forward to scold Qin Fenghua, especially those from the Alchemist Association, Medicine King Village, and Nanyuan City. They all scolded Qin Fenghua and asked him to apologize immediately. Yu Tsongxing was embarrassed and terrified. He had offended so many alchemists and the Alchemist Association. He would never be able to raise his head again. Brother, apologize first. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Yu Tsongxing begged. Qin Fenghua had never been humiliated like this in his life. He was so angry that he was trembling. Su Zhongxiao and the people from the Wang clan laughed provocatively. The disdain on their faces was self-evident. They almost wanted to fart on Qin Fenghua and Yu Tsongxing's heads. Apologize my ass. Get lost. Bang. Yi Qinghan rushed over and kicked one of the Wang clan's retainers on the butt. He fell to the ground. Qin Xianxian followed beside Yi Qinghan. He was also furious as he glared at Su Zhongxiao. When Su Zhongxiao saw that Yi Qinghan had arrived, an evil smile appeared on his face. Little bastard, you came at the right time. 15 million was what you promised. Now that I've defeated your disciple in the first round, hand over the 15 million and kneel down and apologize to me. Yi Qinghan licked his teeth. The cold light under his bamboo hat was like a divine weapon that pierced into Su Zhongxiao's mind. Su Zhongxiao felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He did not even dare to move. Wang Zichen from the Wang clan looked proud and said confidently, Master Su Zhongxiao, if they don't hand over the money and apologize, the Wang clan will be the first to punish them. Yi Qinghan snorted in disdain and brought Qin Xianxian to the appeal point. However, the people at the appeal point were also from the Medicine King Manor. When they saw Yi Qinghan bringing Qin Xianxian over, they said impatiently, I already said that the results are correct. Why are you still here to appeal? Do you think we alchemists have nothing better to do? Get lost. Otherwise, you will be blacklisted by the Alchemist Association and never be hired again. Yi Qinghan looked down at the 2 alchemists at the appeal point. They were only level 13 alchemists. How dare they be so arrogant? He did not want to waste time with them. He stood there and waited for Nanyuan Zhengbei. He had already contacted him through a message talisman. He should be here soon. Chapter 1741. Su Zhongxiao saw that Yi Qinghan was waiting at the appeal point, so he rushed over and said angrily, Little bastard, are you trying to go back on your words? Yi Qinghan looked at Su Zhongxiao coldly and said, If you dare to scold me again, I'll rip your head off. At this time, Wang Zichen walked over proudly and said disdainfully, In Xing City, no one dares to speak so arrogantly, much less dare to blaspheme a divine pill master. What do you think of the Alchemist Association and the divine pill masters? You can't represent all the divine pill masters, and you can't represent the Alchemist Association. Bribing the judge and influencing the alchemist competition, I wonder if you can bear the responsibility if this matter spreads? Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Bullsh *t slandering others. Not only are you insulting Master Su and my Wang family, you're also insulting the judge and the Alchemist Association. You've got guts. Wang Zichen roared as if his tail had been stepped on. Su Zhongxiao was even more flustered and exasperated. They naturally knew about this matter, and they also knew that once this matter was spread out, it would have a huge negative impact on the Alchemist Association. They might even be expelled from the Alchemist Association, never to step into the Alchemist faction again, and never to refine pills again. Su Zhongxiao and Wang Zichen's faces turned red as they glared at Yi Qinghan. Kid, you're slandering others, but don't drag the Alchemist Association into this. At this time, a divine pill master from the Medicine King Manor walked over and warned coldly, "You've insulted the divine pill masters and the Alchemist Association. I won't hold it against you, but you're removed from the Alchemist Association. From now on, you're not allowed to use the name of a divine pill master to swindle others. You have no right to continue participating in this alchemist competition, and you can't watch it either." Cram. Yi Qinghan stared at the person who came and replied coldly, "You really don't have the right to say that. So what if the head of the Medicine King Manor is here? What a joke. How dare you attack the head of the Medicine King Manor? Men, arrest this person." The Medicine King Manor's divine pill master shouted angrily. "Stop. You all making such a ruckus at the alchemy master competition, where's the propriety?" Nanyuan Zhengbei rushed over from afar and reprimanded sternly. When Nanyuan Zhengbei arrived, the group of people immediately surrounded Yi Qinghan and said, "This brat is too audacious. He verbally attacked a god alchemist and insulted the referee. He even attacked the Alchemist Association and the manor head of the Medicine King Manor. Lord Nanyuan, please uphold justice." Su Zhongxiao even took out a written pledge and cried out pitifully, "Lord, please help this lowly one. This person made a bet with me, a bet of 15 million. As long as I can defeat either of them, I will win." Now, his disciple has not even passed the first round. This person is pestering us endlessly, attacking the various god alchemists like a wild dog, blaspheming the rules of the alchemist competition. Even the great manor head of the Medicine King Manor and the Alchemist Association have been attacked by him. This person has committed a heinous crime. Please take this thief down. Yi Qinghan smiled but did not say anything. He looked coldly at this group of clowns jumping around. Nanyuan Zhengbei looked angrily at the god alchemist referees and the Medicine King Manor's divine pill master referees. He naturally knew that with Qin Xuanxuan's results, it was certain that he would enter the second round. But now, he had actually failed in the first round. Someone must have done something behind the scenes. That referee must have taken Su Zhongxiao's money, and the Medicine King Manor's divine pill master referees must have silently agreed. Otherwise, such a result would not have happened. Elder Nanyuan, I want to appeal. My disciple refined a furnace of high-grade energy-gathering pills in the first round and was actually eliminated. Wouldn't this be a joke to the world? Some of the referees damaged their own reputation and tarnished the reputation of the Alchemist Association. They even blasphemed the position of a god alchemist. Please uphold justice, Yi Qinghan said calmly. Nonsense. The Medicine King Manor's divine pill masters rebuked angrily. Shut up. Nanyuan Zhengbei scolded the Medicine King Manor's divine pill master. He said coldly, report Qin Xuanxuan's results to me. Also, give me her results and her pills. Also, call the referee for Qin Xuanxuan's group over. The surrounding people immediately gathered. Some were here to watch the show, while others wanted to appeal. However, they all wanted to see if Yi Qinghan's appeal would succeed. If Nanyuan Zhengbei could not do anything about the alchemist competition, then there was no need to offend these so-called god alchemist referees. Qin Xuanxuan's group's referee, Zhou Jing, was watching from afar. When he heard that Nanyuan Zhengbei wanted to see him, he was so scared that he started trembling. He had taken Su Zhongzhao's 500,000 strands of faith money to give Qin Xianxian a low score. That was why she was eliminated. Zhou Jing walked over in fear. Nanyuan Zhengbei merely glanced at him coldly before continuing to wait for Qin Xuanxuan's result. Not long later, a god alchemist brought Qin Xuanxuan's pills and results over. Nanyuan Zhengbei scanned the results and realized that Qin Xuanxuan's pills had all been swapped out. The quality was very poor. There was not even a single middle-grade pill, let alone a high-grade one. He then looked at the results and saw that 3 batches of pills were wasted. The rest were all low-grade pills. He could not help but laugh. Zhou Jing, can you explain to me what is going on? Nanyuan Zhengbei held the results and asked coldly. Sir, her results are like this. Zhou Jing bowed in fear. Nanyuan Zhengbei asked in disdain, Are you saying that I am blind? That day, I saw with my own eyes that she refined 1 batch of high-grade pills and 2 batches of middle-grade pills. However, these pills have all been swapped out. They are all low-grade and useless pills. Are you saying that I am senile in front of everyone? Boom. Zhou Jing did not expect Nanyuan Zhengbei to notice Qin Xuanxuan's results. He was so frightened that he immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed like a chick pecking at rice. Vice President, I also do not know what is going on. Perhaps I took the wrong pill. I am really innocent. Zhou Jing did not dare to admit that he was bribed. He could only insist that he took the wrong pill. Otherwise, it would not only implicate him and Su Zhongxiao, but also the people from Medicine King Manor. He did not have the guts to do so. The people from Medicine King Manor who received the bribe did not dare to look Nanyuan Zhengbei in the eye. They also did not dare to speak up for Nanyuan Zhengbei. They were afraid that they would spill the beans and get into trouble. Nanyuan Zhengbei threw the results to Zhou Jing and questioned coldly, You said that you took the wrong pill. Do you want 100,000 people to compete again? I will give you one more chance to speak the truth. Otherwise, I will kill you. Zhou Jing trembled as he kowtowed and begged for mercy. However, he was still unwilling to change his words. Su Zhongxiao did not dare to say anything more. After all, he was the instigator of this matter. At this moment, Medicine King Manor's manor head walked over from afar with a smile on his face. It was like a spring breeze that dispelled his anger. He said calmly, Zhengbei, you made a mistake in your haste. Your crime does not warrant death. There is no need to pursue it further. Since Miss Qin's results are wrong, let her take the test alone. I will personally be the examiner. Chapter 1742. With Medicine King Village Head and Alchemist Association President personally speaking, no one dared to say anything. Yi Qinghan could only shrug his shoulders and agree. Medicine King Village Head glanced at Yi Qinghan indifferently and didn't say anything. His eyes were emotionless, which made people confused. For such a terrifying existence, even if a Sector Lord Level 9 expert came, he might not even look at him. However, he actually looked at Yi Qinghan. Everyone felt curious. Su Zhongxiao naturally saw Medicine King Village Head looking at Yi Qinghan and his heart suddenly stopped. He felt that he had judged the wrong person and shouldn't have provoked Yi Qinghan. Qin Xianxian started to refine pills alone and was a little nervous. However, he quickly adjusted his emotions and started to refine pills under everyone's gazes. His technique had Nanyuan Zhengbei's technique and experience, as well as Yi Qinghan's unique and domineering style. Medicine King Village Head was a peak existence among great god pill masters. He immediately saw that Qin Xuanxuan's technique was similar to Nanyuan Zhengbei's. He couldn't help but smile faintly and didn't point it out. Zhengbei, this child's technique might be familiar, but it's still immature. He should have just started to refine pills not long ago. Village head has sharp eyes. Student knew that I couldn't hide it from you. This girl's talent is extraordinary. From comprehending the fire origin to refining pills, it only took her 3 months. Nanyuan Zhengbei bowed and replied, "What? 3 months? Did I hear wrongly? We have been refining pills for countless years. Have all these years been wasted? This is impossible. How can it only be 3 months?" Everyone felt as if they had been humiliated. This kind of situation was truly unacceptable. It was just like a cultivator. A person had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years before reaching the realm master level. Then, a devilish brat suddenly appeared and said that he only used 3 months to reach this level. Wasn't this just too provocative? Who could accept this? At this moment, even the head of Medicine King Manor was shocked. Although he could see that Qin Xuanxuan's skills were still immature and there were many details that were not done well, he could tell that Qin Xianxian had not refined pills for more than 3 months. This child's talent is extraordinary. This old man is ashamed. The head of the Medicine King Manor shook his head and smiled bitterly. I also feel ashamed. The first time I saw her, I was stunned by her beauty, so I gave her a few pointers. However, someone actually eliminated her today, so I lost my composure a little. I hope teacher won't take it to heart, Nanyuan Zhengbei hurriedly explained. If such a genius is really eliminated, I would be the sinner. You did the right thing, the head of the Medicine King Manor said in a serious tone. The head of the Medicine King Manor glared at Zhou Jing and said coldly, "Zhou Jing, we almost lost a great genius today because of you. You'll be fined 100,000 years worth of salary to atone for your crimes. If you make another mistake, you'll be expelled from the sect. There will be no place for you in the eternal sacred land of Sword Dao." Dong dong dong. Zhou Jing's intestines were green with regret. How could he have known that Qin Xianxian was Nanyuan Zhengbei's in-name disciple, and such a genius? At this moment, he hurriedly kowtowed and admitted his mistake, not daring to quibble. Su Zhongxiao's face was pale with fright. Even the head of the Medicine King Manor was praising Qin Xianxian, and Nanyuan Zhengbei was personally teaching him. Could he still win in the later stages? If he lost, he would lose 15 million strands of wealth. Although he received 1 million strands of offerings every year, he only saved a few 100,000 strands of wealth every year. Losing 15 million strands of wealth was equivalent to taking his life away. After punishing Zhou Jing, the head of the Medicine King Manor glanced at Yi Qinghan again before turning to leave. This gaze caused Yi Qinghan to be baffled. The others also paid attention to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan was originally quite mysterious, but after being stared at by the Medicine King, he became even more conspicuous. Su Zhongxiao followed Wang Zichen back to House Wang's lounge dejectedly, waiting for the second round to begin. Yi Qinghan was also too lazy to continue playing with Su Zhongxiao. He was prepared to get rid of Su Zhongxiao in the next round and get the 15 million strands of wealth first. That was not a small amount of wealth, and could be used to purchase the ingredients for the immortality pill. There were a total of 6 rounds. After the third round was the semi-finals, the 5th round was the finals, and the 6th round was the finals. The first 3 rounds would not have any strong alchemy skills, but only to select some talented alchemists. True experts like Yi Qinghan would directly enter the finals. This was something that everyone knew. In the second round, Yi Qinghan still did not participate. Su Zhongxiao was a little suspicious. Some people were sent to the third round through guaranteed entry, but no one could be sent to the 4th round, unless they were experts and directly entered the finals. Fire Beacon City and the Yu clan obviously did not have the ability to send Yi Qinghan to the third round. Then there was only one possibility: Yi Qinghan's true alchemy skills could directly enter the finals. Wang Zichen also felt that something was not right. He was prepared to give up on Su Zhongxiao to protect himself. No matter who he offended, he should not offend a great god alchemist, especially the Alchemist Association. Moreover, the other party had the vice president's backing. Wang Zichen took the opportunity when the second round started to bow in front of Yi Qinghan and said respectfully, "Great God Alchemist, this little one has eyes but failed to see. Please don't take issue with this little one's words." Yi Qinghan did not even look at Wang Zichen. Wang Zichen was just a mischievous person. Although he was a little clever, he was still a clown. Wang Zichen saw that Yi Qinghan was ignoring him and stood there awkwardly, not knowing what to do. However, in order to get Yi Qinghan's forgiveness, he had no choice but to clench his teeth and take out a brocade box. He knelt in front of Yi Qinghan. "Esteemed Lord, this little one is ignorant. Senior, please accept this little one's sincerity. This is a top-tier 14 god artifact material. This little one obtained it by accident. You are a great god alchemist. Perhaps it will be of use to you." Wang Zichen was very respectful and did not dare to show any signs of embarrassment. Upon hearing that it was a top-tier 14 god artifact material, Yi Qinghan was somewhat interested. He reached out to take it and was about to open it to take a look. Yi Qinghan did not let Wang Zichen stand up. He really knelt in front of Yi Qinghan and poured a cup of tea for him. He apologized again. "Esteemed Lord, please have some tea." Yi Qinghan did not reply. Instead, he opened the brocade box. A burst of fragrance rushed into his nostrils and flowed through his limbs and bones. A divine herb that looked like a vine appeared in front of him. It was very fresh and contained endless vitality. However, he could not recognize what kind of herb it was. He knew that it was priceless and definitely not cheap. "Get up." Yi Qinghan closed the brocade box. Since Wang Zichen had admitted his mistake, he could not be too stingy, right? When Wang Zichen heard Yi Qinghan speak, he was immediately overjoyed. He hurriedly said flatteringly, "This little one knows that esteemed Lord is magnanimous and will not stoop to the level of a junior. Previously, Su Zhongxiao deliberately instigated me. This little one was young and ignorant, so I was instigated by him and verbally attacked esteemed Lord. Fortunately, esteemed Lord did not hold it against me. Otherwise, my father would beat me to death." Yi Qinghan took the tea that Wang Zichen brought over and took a sip. "I accept your sincerity. Go back. Su Zhongxiao will bear the consequences of his own actions. As for the Wang family, I will not hold it against them." Chapter 1743. The alchemy competition continued. Wang Zichen could be considered an ambitious and ruthless character. He was a direct descendant of a powerful clan, and he knew when to submit and when to stand tall. He knelt down as he pleased, and his face wasn't red nor was he panting. This kind of person would definitely have a good future. Yi Qinghan looked at Wang Zichen's back as he left. Qin Fenghua and Yu Congxing couldn't be bothered to look at Wang Zichen. Their eyes were fixed on Qin Xianxian. She was the hope of the two families. As long as Qin Xianxian could enter the finals, there would be hope for the Alchemist Association to be closer to Fire Beacon City. When the time came for the Wang family to migrate, the alliance would definitely be stronger. Yi Qinghan retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Xianxian. Now that she was in a good state, entering the semi-finals was inevitable. He wasn't worried anymore. Su Zhongxiao's seat wasn't far from Qin Xianxian. At this moment, he was calmly refining pills. The second furnace had already started to condense pills. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed with a blue light as he controlled the fire elements in the air. Condense. Su Zhongxiao focused and started to condense the pills. He controlled this furnace very well. There would definitely be a chance for some supreme-grade divine pills to appear. With supreme-grade divine pills, Entering the next round wouldn't be a problem. At this moment, he was very pleased with himself. When he condensed the 20th pill, Su Zhongxiao was overjoyed. Just as he was about to lower the temperature and completely condense the pills, the temperature in the furnace suddenly rose rapidly. Bang! Boom boom boom! The first pill exploded, followed by the second and then the third. When all 20 pills exploded, the entire cauldron emitted a rumbling sound. The cauldron had exploded. Su Zhongxiao didn't see how the furnace exploded at all. His head was buzzing along with the high-grade pills. His face was ashen as he looked at the furnace in despair. He muttered, "This is impossible. Why did the furnace explode? Why did it explode? I've already condensed the pills." Yi Qinghan's control of the fire element was far beyond Su Zhongxiao's. Even Nanyuan Zhengbei and the Medicine King couldn't compare to him. If he wanted to cheat and disqualify someone like Su Zhongxiao, wouldn't it be a sure thing? Yi Qinghan sneered as he leaned on the chair and stared at Su Zhongxiao. Although Su Zhongxiao was going crazy, he calmed down quickly. He immediately started the furnace and cleaned it up again. Then, he started to create the third furnace of divine pills. Without a doubt, the quality of the third cauldron was not bad either. After condensing the pill, it began to cool down to form the pill. Then, it was played by Yi Qinghan for a while. At the final moment, the pill exploded, and the explosion almost drove him crazy. How could this be? Su Zhongxiao had no idea why all the pills would explode. This kind of situation would never happen to a veteran god alchemist. Su Zhongxiao blew up 2 furnaces in a row, attracting the attention of the crowd. Some people rejoiced in his misfortune, while others were curious. However, Wang Zichen's face had already turned green. This bastard had taken 1.2 million strands of offerings from the Wang family. In any case, he should at least enter the semifinals, right? If this continued, they wouldn't even be able to pass the third round. Wouldn't the Wang clan suffer a huge loss? The Medicine King looked over curiously from afar as he watched Su Zhongxiao congeal the 4th batch of pills. Nanyuan Zhengbei subconsciously looked at Yi Qinghan. He could guess that this was Yi Qinghan's doing, but he didn't know how he was able to change Su Zhongxiao's fire origin from so far away without Su Zhongxiao noticing it. Yi Qinghan crossed his legs and leaned back in his chair. Because Su Zhongxiao was eliminated, the 15 million strands of wealth was basically delivered to his door. Su Zhongxiao let out a breath of turbid air. With a pitiful look, he started the furnace again. Completely remove the impurities. Increase the temperature. Add 3 jadefall root. Heat and burn. Su Zhongxiao carefully followed the steps of the pill formula. Every detail was controlled very well. He could be considered a veteran god alchemist. After 2 incense sticks, he started to condense the pills. 1 pill, 2 pills. He condensed all the way to 20 pills. The success rate was not bad, and very little was wasted. Huff! Su Zhongxiao let out another breath of turbid air. His mental strength surged and gathered around the 20 pills. He didn't dare to be careless and prepared to lower the temperature to form the pills. The blue light in Yi Qinghan's eyes was controlled even more perfectly. It was silently heating up Su Zhongxiao's furnace. This was a 5th-grade demon fire. Yi Qinghan withdrew the blue light. The temperature couldn't be felt from the outside, but the temperature inside the furnace was rising. Bang! Another pill exploded in the furnace. This explosion caused Su Zhongxiao's face to turn green. He was flustered and didn't know what to do. However, the more he was flustered, the faster the pills exploded. After 3 breaths, another furnace exploded. Su Zhongxiao looked helplessly at the judge. He didn't understand what was going on. The Medicine King was even more curious. Even he didn't notice any problems. The refining method, the steps, every detail was done. Why did the furnace explode? Moreover, there wasn't a single pill left. This was really strange. Ha! Su Zhongxiao has exploded 3 furnaces. If he continues to explode, He won't even be able to pass the third round if he doesn't have a furnace full of high-grade pills to support him. Qin Feng looked at Yi Qinghan with joy and asked excitedly. Yi Qinghan nodded. Now, Su Zhongxiao had only one furnace. Half of the pills were high-grade and half of the pills were mid-grade. With this, it was impossible for him to enter the fourth round. There were still 2 furnaces left. Yi Qinghan would definitely not let Su Zhongxiao go. Crack! Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and continued to stare at Su Zhongxiao casually. Is this bastard doing it on purpose? 3 furnaces in a row. Should he explode the remaining 2 furnaces as well? Bastard, if he explodes one more furnace, I will definitely take back his offerings. Wang Zichen roared angrily. Young Master Wang, how could my master joke about his reputation? If he explodes 5 furnaces in a row, who would dare to ask him to be their offering in the future? I'm guessing that someone is behind this, one of Su Zhongxiao's disciples said solemnly. Wang Zichen looked around and saw that the 2 head judges were staring at Su Zhongxiao. If someone was behind this, how could they not see it? He immediately scolded. Do you think I'm an idiot, or do you think the judges and head judges are idiots? Someone is behind this? I can't believe you said that. Get out of my way. I'm pissed when I see you guys. Su Zhongxiao's disciples left Wang Zichen's lounge with their tails between their legs. They could only mingle with the ordinary alchemists on the outside. Su Zhongxiao's 5th furnace was even more miserable. Before he could even start to condense his pills, he was blown away by a wave of heat and was completely turned into scrap. That's impossible. Su Zhongxiao was furious and roared. Please mind your manners. Do not disturb the other alchemists. Otherwise, you will be kicked out of the arena. Although the judge had taken Su Zhongxiao's money, the 2 head judges were watching. He did not dare to cover for Su Zhongxiao. Su Zhongxiao's face and neck were red. He looked up at Yi Qinghan unwillingly. Although his expression could not be seen, it was obvious that he was gloating. 15 million. If he lost, it was not just 15 million in wealth. It was even more precious than that. Which big family would dare to ask him for help in the future? Even if they did, he would not be able to get much offerings. It would not be enough to support him in his alchemy career. In the last furnace, Su Zhongxiao's hands and feet began to tremble. He would either produce a furnace of supreme-grade pills or be eliminated. Chapter 1744. The square was bustling with activity. Su Zhongxiao had become the center of attention. A divine alchemist who could explode 4 furnaces in a row was unprecedented. Su Zhongxiao looked at the sky in fear. He thought that he had offended an immortal and was being punished by the heavens. He could only pray secretly that he would not be punished again. When the 5th furnace was opened, Yi Qinghan watched silently and allowed him to do as he pleased. But when the pill was condensed, the temperature in the furnace was no longer under Su Zhongxiao's control. It turned into scrap metal. He knelt on the ground and cried in despair. His reputation was gone just like that. There was also the 5 million Yi Qinghan's gambling debt. He even had to kneel and apologize in public. Just thinking about it made him feel despair. Yi Qinghan crossed his arms in front of his chest and lay on the chair in satisfaction. At this moment, Qin Xianxian had successfully refined 6 furnaces, and the quality was not bad. There was no problem for him to advance to the next round. Yi Qinghan entered the finals directly. Su Zhongxiao had lost. Su Zhongxiao seemed to have aged tens of thousands of years in an instant. His face was full of fatigue. He walked to Wang Zichen, thinking that he would be comforted. But he did not expect Wang Zichen to take back his offerings and force him out. Su Zhongxiao looked at his disciples and saw that they were also full of disdain. The humiliation in his heart surged to his head, and he almost went berserk. Yi Qinghan watched silently. This was human nature. Everyone wanted to add flowers to the brocade. But once someone was in trouble, not to mention adding flowers to the brocade, there were many people who would hit someone when they were down. Su Zhongxiao walked to Yi Qinghan helplessly. It was unknown whether he was regretting or pretending to be pitiful. He handed over 5 million strands of money with both hands and knelt in front of Yi Qinghan. He said, "This old man's eyes are blurry. Please forgive me." Yi Qinghan took the money without hesitation and said calmly, "Let's go. I hope this will teach you a lesson. Be a good person in the future. Perhaps there will be another chance." Su Zhongxiao looked up at Yi Qinghan. He seemed to have found the real reason for the explosion. You did it?" Su Zhongxiao looked at Yi Qinghan in horror. Could Yi Qinghan really be a sacred alchemist if he and the two head judges could not figure out the reason behind it? Everyone knew how frightening it was to offend a saint pill master. In the future, they could forget about advancing on the path of alchemy. Yi Qinghan didn't answer. He just waved his hand, gesturing for him to leave. He didn't want to say anything more. Dong dong dong. Su Zhongxiao kowtowed 3 times in a row, causing the room to rumble. He said sincerely, "Supreme Lord, this little one knows his mistake. Please give this fool a chance to repent. Even if I have to be a slave or a servant, I am willing to accompany you until I die of old age. I won't teach you anything." "Leave," Yi Qinghan replied coldly. "This fool doesn't ask for Milord's guidance. I only ask to accompany Milord, to be a servant who serves tea and water, to prepare materials for Milord, but I don't dare to covet Milord at all. Please grant my wish." Su Zhongxiao kowtowed on the floor, not daring to raise his head. Yi Qinghan kept quiet for a moment and thought, "He is a divine alchemist after all. If I want to take over the heaven-suppressing palace, I will need more people. And you may rise." Yi Qinghan nodded. Su Zhongxiao was overjoyed. He kowtowed again and again. His arrogance and impulsiveness were gone. He said respectfully, "Thank you, Milord. Thank you, Milord. From this incident, I hope you'll understand that you have to keep a low profile. Don't focus on immediate benefit. You have to keep your eyes open when you recognize people. Look at those disciples you've taken in and those who've come to seek refuge with you," Yi Qinghan reminded him coldly. Su Zhongxiao nodded respectfully in acknowledgement. At this moment, he was somewhat enlightened. No one around him was willing to help him in his hour of need. Everyone was kicking him while he was down. Even his own disciple looked down on him. Perhaps Yi Qinghan's prank this time was a blessing in disguise. "If you want to be my servant, you must be capable. Let me give you a small test. Keep these 5 million strands of wealth and help me purchase a set of materials." Yi Qinghan waved his hand and threw the storage ring back to Su Zhongxiao. He said indifferently, "I want a portion of heavenly immortal grass or jade bone immortal root. Once you complete the mission, I will take you as my slave. You can also take the 5 million strands of money and go to some small place to live a comfortable life." Su Zhongxiao's hands trembled. He crawled in front of Yi Qinghan and offered the storage ring with both hands. He cried bitterly, "This fool's state of mind is not as good as Milord's. Now that I think about how I humiliated you that day, my heart is filled with regret. Therefore, Milord, please give this fool a chance to make up for his mistakes. This fool still has some money on him, enough to purchase the materials. Please accept this money and hope that it can make up for some of this fool's mistake. Take it just in case." Yi Qinghan's tone was firm. He waved his hand lazily and let Su Zhongxiao leave. Su Zhongxiao did not dare to say anything more. He quickly took the storage ring and left the lounge. Qin Fenghua and Yu Songxing looked at Yi Qinghan curiously and asked, "Mr. Yang, aren't you afraid that he will run away with the money?" Yi Qinghan smiled and said, "I judge people by their money. I need someone I can trust. If he runs away for 5 million, he will be the one to lose. If I don't test him, I might lose more than 5 million strands of money. Qin Fenghua and Yu Tsongxing could not help but exclaim in surprise. Using 5 million strands of money to test a person, this kind of big spending was indeed rare. After the third round of the competition ended, Yi Qinghan returned to the Yu clan as usual. He diligently trained, hoping to quickly control the blue demonic flame to its peak state. Land of the 9 prefectures, Divine Martial City, Imperial Palace. The higher-ups of the crazy sect and the Flame Dragon Army had already left the land of the 9 prefectures. Now they were all managed by a group of juniors. The highest cultivation level was only Desolate Lord Yi. Now that he had become the lord of the 9 prefectures, he controlled the 9 prefectures and guarded the 9 divine cauldrons. The world was at peace. However, the little girl hidden in the godly dragon cauldron was forcefully taken out of the dragon vein by the star chessboard. She ascended to the void with great power. The terrifying power in her body forcefully broke the seal and could almost destroy the 9 states. There were no more masters in the 9 states that could suppress her. The most powerful one was Jian Chenxue. She had been taking care of Yi Qinghan's mother, Madame Wang. She stood aloof from worldly affairs and did not care about anything. She silently protected Yi Qinghan's family. Now that she was alarmed by the power outside the city, she immediately rushed out. Lin Shui? Isn't the child that Qinghan brought from the eternal world sealed? Jian Chenxue was surprised to see Lin Shui sitting cross-legged on the star chessboard. She did not understand why she came out of the godly dragon cauldron. Lin Shui was surrounded by a layer of light. It seemed to be a barrier. Jian Chenxue flew up and reached out to touch it. It seemed invisible, but she could not break through it, let alone touch Lin Shui's body. The star chessboard rotated and drew in the stars. A strand of light shrouded Lin Shui like a holy fairy. His Desolate Lord Yi was shocked by Lin Shui. An 8-year-old child had such terrifying power. He was now the #1 master in the inner realm, second only to Jian Chenxue. He was at the 3rd level of the Sector Lord realm. However, when facing Lin Shui, he did not even have the strength to resist. Or rather, he could not resist the star chessboard. "Auntie, what should we do?" Desolate Lord Yi asked anxiously. Jian Chenxue was as white as snow. She wore a white robe and was as holy as a fairy. She did not have any desires in these years. Now she was even stronger, but she had never shown it. However, her prestige was second only to Yi Qinghan in the 9 states. Even a master like Yan Ao had to respectfully call her sister-in-law. Jian Chenxue's starry eyes flashed as she looked at Lin Shui. She did not know if this was a sign of disaster or something else. She did not dare to take the risk, and could only choose to go to the big world to find Yi Qinghan. "Desolate Lord, you can control the 9 states. Do not let anyone get close to this child. I will go to the big world." Jian Chenxue's heavenly voice spread. Her white robe rolled up as she stepped into the distance. Chapter 1745. Yi Qinghan was still in the Great World and knew nothing about the 9 continents. He was now cultivating peacefully. The 4th round's name list was out and Qin Xianxian was ranked around 4,300. The total number of people who made it to the next round was 10,000. In just 3 rounds, 90% of them were eliminated and the remaining 10,000 were all elite. With this ranking, it was not a problem for Qin Xianxian to make it to the next round. However, there were too many benefits involved in the competition, and it was obvious that some people did not want Qin Xianxian to make it to the next round. Medicine King Pavilion was a branch of Medicine King Manor in the Saint City. It was considered a super divine medicine store and was surrounded by at least a dozen buildings. On the top floor of Medicine King Pavilion, in a private room, 2 people dressed in heaven-suppressing palaces attire sat respectfully in the lower seat. They were both middle-aged men with cultivation levels of Realm Lord level 9. They looked at Medicine King with anticipation. Senior Medicine King, we have given you all the benefits we can. Please help us. This time, the Alchemist Guild must move into our territory. Shi Zhentian clasped his fists and said. Shi Zhentian was the founder of Heaven's Suppressing Palace. Beside him was a guest elder of Heaven's Suppressing Palace and a disciple in the sacred land of Sword. His name was Zhou Wuchuan, and he was extremely strong and had mastered the pinnacle of Sword Dao. I understand what you two are trying to say. However, it's not realistic to eliminate all the real threat. Medicine King said calmly. Is it Nanyuan City? They are the previous Alchemist Guild headquarters residences, and they have been eliminated. Is there someone who can make things difficult for you? Shi Zhentian asked curiously. It's a girl raised by Nanyuan Zhengbei. She is extremely talented, and even I am ashamed of myself. Her name is Qin Xianxian, and I'm sure you know her. Medicine King stroked his white hair and said, This little girl is still wet behind the ears, and she dares to make it to the top 3? Shi Zhentian sneered and promised, Senior Medicine King, don't worry. As long as you cooperate with me, I will make sure she is eliminated in the next round. The Heaven-Suppressing Palace's profit of 10% every 1,000 years is tempting to me. How can I not cooperate with you? Pill King smiled and said to Shi Zhentian, In the 4th round tomorrow, Qin Xuanxuan's seat will be in the middle of your 2 Heaven-Suppressing Palace's alchemists. You will be able to disrupt her ability to control her fire. Tomorrow, I will also be giving out new alchemy recipes to prevent Nan Yuan Zhengbei from passing his alchemy recipes to her. Ha ha ha, the older the ginger, the spicier it is. Senior, don't worry, I will make sure no one knows. As long as the Alchemist Association doesn't give her a chance to appeal, it will be fine. Shi Zhentian said confidently. Yes. Medicine King nodded and waved his hand. As for the other opponents in the Heaven-Suppressing Palace, I will take care of them myself. You may leave now. The next day, the 4th round of the competition began. Qin Xuanxuan's confidence skyrocketed. As long as he maintained his condition, entering the finals would not be a problem. If he could enter the top 3, it would save Yi Qinghan a lot of trouble. Initially, Yi Qinghan did not want to watch the competition anymore. However, he was still wary of Qin Xianxian and decided to follow. On the stage, the 4 people around Qin Xianxian were all from the Heaven-Suppressing Palace. This caught Yi Qinghan's attention. One could be a coincidence, 2 could also be a coincidence. However, all 4 of them were from the Heaven-Suppressing Palace's alchemists. Yi Qinghan was puzzled as the Heaven-Suppressing Palace's alchemists shouldn't be targeting a little girl. During the alchemy process, no one disturbed Qin Xianxian. However, Yi Qinghan was even more cautious as he stared at the 5 alchemists without blinking. The judges were pacing back and forth, blocking Yi Qinghan's view from time to time. It did not seem like they were doing it on purpose. Yi Qinghan stood up when Qin Xianxian announced his pill condensation. At this moment, a judge was standing in front of Qin Xianxian, blocking Yi Qinghan's path. He couldn't see Qin Xuanxuan's pill condensation process. Xiao, the alchemist on Qin Xuanxuan's left, waved his hand and condensed the pellet. He channeled the fire origin energy towards Qin Xianxian and sealed off all the fire elements in Qin Xuanxuan's domain. Pung! The temperature in Qin Xuanxuan's cauldron dropped drastically, causing the temperature in the cauldron to not be high enough to condense the pellet. Qin Xianxian was shocked as he realized that he could no longer control the fire origin energy. He could no longer condense the pellet, and the medicinal properties of the divine liquid were gradually disappearing. He frowned and scolded the alchemist, "You are disturbing me on purpose." However, the alchemist was focused on condensing the pellet and ignored Qin Xianxian. The judge scolded, "Do not disturb others or you will be kicked out of the alchemist competition." With a flip of his hand, Yi Qinghan forcefully broke through the divine alchemist's seal. Everything happened silently. He took the initiative to help Qin Xian condense the pills. Although a portion of the medicinal properties were lost, the recovery was still fast enough. Moreover, his control of temperature had reached the limit, and he was able to condense 16 low-grade grade 14 divine pellets in a short time. Pung! When the pellet was formed, the cauldron's lid opened and a fragrant aroma filled the air. Both the judge and Qin Xianxian were shocked, and the alchemist was even more shocked. In a moment of carelessness, the quality of the divine pellets in the cauldron dropped significantly, and half of them were low-grade divine pellet. I want to appeal. This little girl is disturbing me on purpose after condensing the pellet. She is not fit to be a divine alchemist, and she is not fit to be a member of the Alchemist Association. The alchemist complained angrily. I want to report this. This lady is cheating. With her strength, it's impossible for her to concoct a supreme-grade pellet. Furthermore, she was clearly interfering with our heaven-suppressing palace's people's pellet concoction. Judge, please be fair. The few heaven-suppressing prefecture's divine pellet masters around Qin Xianxian started criticizing him. Qin Xianxian was at a loss, and he looked helplessly at the judge. The judge was from the Medicine King Manor, and now that he had the chance, how could he not take it? Qin Xianxian, you are the one who cheated first, and you even framed the other participants. Who would have thought that such a beautiful face would have such a venomous heart? Your score is 0 and you will not be allowed to participate in the next round. Since this is your first offense, we will not blacklist you. The judge looked at Qin Xianxian coldly and said firmly. Who? Yi Qinghan let out a breath of foul air. He did not expect that his actions would give the alchemists a chance to complain. It seemed like they were determined to eliminate Qin Xianxian. Nanyuan Zhengbei frowned as he looked at the alchemists from the heaven-suppressing hall. He wanted to speak up for Qin Xianxian, but it was a fact that Yi Qinghan cheated. How could he protect Qin Xianxian? Cheating is taboo and the most shameful act of the alchemists. Expel this girl from the competition, and she will never be given the title of divine alchemist. Medicine King scolded coldly. Chapter 1746. Now that Qin Xianxian was disqualified, and was punished by the Medicine King himself, Qin Xuanxuan's future would definitely be bleak. Qin Fenghuo was dumbfounded, as he never thought that Qin Xianxian would be disqualified and suffer such a terrible punishment. He looked at Yi Qinghan in despair and did not know what to do. Forget it, the heaven-suppressing palace's people are clearly trying to eliminate Xianxian. It must be because of Elder Nan Yuan. Look at the 4 people around her, they are all from the heaven-suppressing palace. If the Medicine King Manor's people were not involved, this wouldn't have happened. The Medicine King and the heaven-suppressing palace's people have already made an agreement. We won't be able to get anything out of it, Yi Qinghan replied calmly. Sigh, what a pity. Yu Zongxing sighed. There's nothing to be sorry about. A person's fate and achievements are not decided by the Medicine King Manor and the Alchemist Guild. Yi Qinghan smiled disdainfully and said to Qin Xianxian through the window, Come back. Those who are clear-minded will naturally know the truth. There's no need to lose confidence in yourself because of someone else's word. Qin Xianxian was dumbfounded. He had wanted to enter the top 10 and obtain the top 3, but he didn't expect that he wouldn't even be able to obtain the title of Divine Alchemist. Hearing Yi Qinghan's words, he felt even worse. Humph, what do you mean? Are you saying that I am unfair? The Medicine King's eyes were like torches as he stared at Yi Qinghan through the window of the lounge. He questioned Yi Qinghan coldly. Yi Qinghan was not afraid at all. Just because he did not provoke the Medicine King, it did not mean that he was afraid of the Medicine King. He stood up and walked out with the dark gold rod on his back. Is it fair? Respected Senior Medicine King, ask yourself honestly, is this really fair? Yi Qinghan's mocking tone angered the Medicine King. The Medicine King's face turned red, and his white hair fluttered in the wind as if he was humiliated. Although he was not a Saint Pill master, he represented the Tao of sword and the Tao of alchemy of the great eternal sacred ground. Who dared to mock him like this? You're insulting this old man's dignity and character. You're trampling on the glory of the Alchemist Guild. If you have any evidence that I have been unfair, take it out and I will apologize to you in front of everyone. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving the square today. The Pill King scolded sternly. Yi Qinghan shook his head, pointed at the Pill King and said, "The ones who trampled on your dignity and character were you and your money. The one who trampled on the honor of the Alchemist Association was naturally you. You can't represent the honor of the Alchemist Association, but you are trampling on it. You want evidence? I'll give it to you. But then again, if I take out the evidence, do you dare to publicly resign as the president of the Alchemist Association and never interfere with the matters of the Alchemist Association again? This old man has a clear conscience, why wouldn't I dare? What if you can't take it out?" The King of Medicine asked angrily. Yi Qinghan smirked and replied disdainfully, "When that time comes, I'll present myself to you and let you do as you please." Whoosh! The entire square was abuzz with discussion. The Pill King represented the most powerful expert in the Eternal Sacred Land's Pill Tao division. The Sacred Land had 2 Pill Masters before, but one had passed away and the other was wandering the world. Now, the Sacred Land only had 2 Pill Masters left, and they were invited from outside. They cultivated diligently within the Sacred Land and rarely showed themselves in public. It was rumored that they would be watching the competition from afar, but who knew if that was true? "How dare you insult the Pill King, kid? That's an insult to the Sword Tao Sacred Land's Pill Tao division. This is the Pill Tao competition. How dare a nobody like you spout nonsense and frame us? Kneel and apologize, then get out of the Eternal Sacred Land. Scram! Scram! Kneel! Kneel!" The Pill King Manor had tens of thousands of disciples and grand disciples. The sheer number of them was enough to drown Yi Qinghan with their spittle. Yi Qinghan was currently being cursed by tens of thousands of people. Many people cursed Yi Qinghan in order to please the Pill King, not giving Yi Qinghan a chance to explain himself. Yi Qinghan smiled eerily, not caring about the curses. His goal today was to remove the Pill King from his pedestal so that the heaven-suppressing palace could no longer work with him. Then, he or Nan Yuan Zhengbei could take over the Alchemist Association and destroy the heaven-suppressing palace together. Pill King, heaven-suppressing palace, you are the ones who gave me this chance. Yi Qinghan arrogantly raised his head and looked coldly at the Medicine King. He said disdainfully, "Do you want to rely on a sky full of disciples and grand disciples to cover up your grave mistake? Pill King, you are old now. It's time for you to step down. Or else, the reputation of the Alchemist Association will be ruined by you for money." The Medicine King sucked in a breath of cold air. He had always represented dignity and orthodoxy. His glory allowed him to see the Eternal Ones in the Holy Land, and he only had to bow as a disciple, not as a servant. He never thought that he would be trampled on by Yi Qinghan today. "Shut up. If I don't explain myself to him today, my honor will be trampled on by this brat," shouted the Pill King angrily. Finally, the crowd's curses and discussions quieted down. However, Shi Zhentian of the heaven-suppressing palace was gloomy. He stared at Yi Qinghan and wanted to take off his hat to see who this person was. "If you can't explain yourself, you will have to pay with your life for slandering the Alchemist Association and the Great Pill King," shouted Shi Zhentian angrily. At this moment, a young man walked over from afar. He carried a saint's sword on his back and wore a saint robe with a sword embroidered on his shoulder. His eyes were as majestic as the stars, and when he walked, he stirred up the forces of heaven and earth. It was as if an eternal saint's sword was unsheathed and could destroy all Daos. His appearance caused an uproar among the crowd. It's the head disciple of the Sword Dao, Great Eternal Sacred Land's third-generation disciples, Lord Jian Shisan. Oh my, he is the peak of the Sword Dao, the personal disciple of the Supreme Eternal Ones. I heard that he has only cultivated for 300,000 years and his cultivation level is already at the initial success stage of the half-step Eternal Ones. He is the idol and hero of the younger generation. Wow. He is so strong. So handsome. At this moment, the atmosphere in the square was even livelier than when Yi Qinghan had humiliated the King of Medicine. Even the King of Medicine's expression changed. He hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "So it's Lord 13. This old man did not go out to greet you." "Greetings, Lord Jian Shisan." Nanyuan Zhengbei and the others cupped their fists and bowed. As for the others, they knelt down to welcome Jian Shisan. Jian Shisan was as handsome as jade. He held a feather fan in his hand and gently tapped on his chest. He glanced around and when he saw Yi Qinghan, he waved his hand and said, "Everyone, please don't stand on ceremony. I am only here to watch the alchemist competition and to find some talent. I didn't want to show myself, but after seeing you all quarreling, I had no choice but to come and watch." Wangu Qingtian Jian Shisan's every word and action carried the aura of the Sword Dao, suppressing his peers and seniors so much that they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Yi Qinghan could feel the strength of this person. He was much stronger than Liang Zhengtai. Even if he used all his trump cards, he might not be a match for him. The Pill King's face turned red. He didn't expect this matter to alarm Jian Shisan. He quickly explained, "I don't know what this thief's intention is. He actually attacked this old man and the Sacred Land Alchemist Guild in public, saying that this old man is controlling the alchemist competition. He is lying through his teeth. This old man must seek justice today." Chapter 1747. Jian Shisan's face was emotionless but he exuded an indescribable aura. He stared straight at Yi Qinghan and asked solemnly, "Senior Medicine King, has contributed his entire life to the Sword Dao Sacred Grounds Alchemy School. He worked hard and taught thousands of disciples. Yet you are insulting Senior Medicine King with your words. Don't you think you are going overboard?" When Medicine King heard Jian Shisan speaking up for him, he immediately raised his head and snorted. "My words are not without proof. Look at the 4 alchemists in the heaven-suppressing palace, they are all surrounding a lady. Don't you find it strange?" Furthermore, when Qin Xianxian was condensing her pellet, the god alchemist on the left forcefully sealed the fire origin around her, preventing her from condensing her pellet. As a peak-level great god alchemist, Master Medicine King should have sensed it. Unless he is not at the peak level of great god alchemist. Yi Qinghan replied coldly. "Whether he has an undeserved reputation or not, everyone in the world knows. Whether you have an undeserved reputation or not, that is yet to be verified. You said that you were able to discover minute details that even the experts at the peak of great god pill masters were unable to discover, which means that your alchemy attainments have already surpassed the great god pill master realm." Jian Shisan asked indifferently. Yi Qinghan smiled confidently and replied, "Whether my alchemy skills have surpassed the great god alchemist or not, I dare not boast. But if I want to prove that I am better than Medicine King, it will be a piece of cake." "Tsk. How arrogant!" the crowd scolded. Medicine King's face turned green and he said angrily, "If you can prove that your alchemy skills are better than mine, I will admit that what you said is the truth. If you are not better than mine, I will prove that you are talking nonsense and purposely slandering the Sword Dao Sacred Grounds Alchemy School. 9 generations of your family will be exterminated." Yi Qinghan shrugged and replied calmly, "No problem. I am confident of this. After all, you can't even see through a little god alchemist's tricks. Your alchemy skills are only SOSO. At this moment, Nanyuan Zhengbei looked at Yi Qinghan excitedly and murmured to himself, I can finally see the Saint Pill Master personally concoct a 5th-grade pellet. Jian Shisan's heart skipped a beat. He was well aware of the Pill King's strength. One had to be a sacred Pill Master to defeat him. Once a sacred Pill Master showed up in the Eternal Sword Dao Sacred Ground, he wouldn't be the one to greet him. Instead, it would be the second chief disciple, his master, Sword Sovereign. Even an Eternal Sword Dao Sacred Ground would have to welcome him. Saint Pill Master? Jian Shisan asked suspiciously. Nanyuan Zhengbei, Pill Saint Pill 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 Pill, Pill 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 Pill, Pill 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 Pill, Pill 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 of the Pill 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 Dao. Jian Shisan was displeased. The Pill King was the face of the Sword Dao Sacred Land. How could he be so humiliated? However, he was cautious and didn't offend Yi Qinghan. If Yi Qinghan could really win against Medicine King, he would give up on Medicine King without hesitation and choose to befriend Yi Qinghan. In that case, I will let Senior Nanyuan and 13 be the judges. The two of you will use the pill cauldrons in the arena. As for the pill formula, I have one here. It's a type of pellet between the 14th and 15th grade. It's called the True Universe Pellet. It's a divine pellet used by 9th-level Realm Lords. It can help one break through to the half-step Eternal Realm. I have collected 4 sets of ingredient. As long as the 2 great god alchemists can concoct the divine pellet, I am willing to give you 20% of the finished product as a reward. After Jian Shisan finished speaking, he took out a brocade box and carefully opened it. He took out an animal skin scroll that exuded a strong vicissitude aura. It was unknown how many years it had existed. Yi Qinghan didn't know much about divine pellets, but Pill King had been concocting pills for countless years. How could he not know the origin of this True Universe pellet? Many half-step Eternal Realm experts wanted to ask a Saint Pill Master to concoct this divine pellet. However, the ingredients were not easy to find. The pill formula was also not easy to find. Most importantly, concocting this kind of pellet would lose one's vitality. No Saint Pill Master was willing to concoct this True Universe pellet. Yi Qinghan reached out to take the pill formula and studied it carefully. Then, he became a little dignified. Concocting 2 cauldrons of True Universe pellet, using the universe as the furnace and life as the flame, would result in a loss of 5,000 years of vitality. 5,000 years, ah. If it was any other time, it wouldn't be a big deal. He was young, but now, he only had 10,000 years of vitality left. He would lose half of it. Getting 4 True Universe pellets wasn't worth the loss. After all, the True Universe pellet could only enhance one's divine power and help a peak Realm Lord 9th-level expert advance to half-step Eternal Realm. It could increase the probability of success by about 5%. For the current Yi Qinghan, this thing had no effect at all. After Yi Qinghan finished reading, Pill King took the formula and looked at it. Then, his eyes flashed with excitement. He was a peak Realm Lord 9th-level expert. The True Universe pellet was a fatal temptation to him. Once he broke through the half-step Eternal Realm, his lifespan would be extended by countless years. This old man will take it. Pill King looked at Yi Qinghan proudly and said, Since you said your skill in alchemy is higher than this old man's, you must be able to concoct a divine medicine like the True Universe pellet. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath, looked at Jian Shisan and thought, if I can win against Pill King, Jian Shisan will surely befriend me. By then, it will be easier for me to wipe out the heaven-suppressing palace. With Jian Shisan's help, the rest of the ingredients for the longevity pellet will be obtained quickly. 5,000 years should be enough for me to concoct it. Since you can take it, then I have no problem with it. Yi Qinghan proudly replied. Jian Shisan breathed out a mouthful of turbid qi and remained calm. Although he held a high position, the Saint Pill Masters wouldn't waste their vitality to concoct the true universe pellet for him. If either of them could concoct the pellet, he would have profited greatly. After all, he was in urgent need of the true universe pellet. Will the two of you concoct the pellet at the same time or in batches? Jian Shisan calmed himself down and asked calmly. Pill King looked coldly at Yi Qinghan and said in disdain, "Lest you say this old man is bullying you, why don't you let this old man concoct a cauldron for you to see?" Yi Qinghan grabbed a cauldron and said calmly, "Since I said I can win against you, why should I look at your alchemy experience? You are only slightly older than me, but your alchemy skills are not even as good as Senior Nan Yuan." Pill King glared at Yi Qinghan angrily and grabbed a cauldron. He said coldly, "Enough with the nonsense. Since you are so arrogant, this old man will teach you a lesson on behalf of your teacher. I will let you know that there is always someone better than you. Then, the two great god pill masters may begin. Those outside are not allowed to make any noise, or I will kill you on the spot." Jian Shisan's cold gaze swept across the surroundings like a sword ray, suppressing the others so much that they dared not move. Pill King flicked the cauldron into the sky and placed it in the middle of the two. The words on the cauldron shone in golden light. The two looked at the cauldron and memorized it. Then, they began to clean the cauldron. The temperature controlled by Pill King was so hot that it was shocking. It was as if the flames could destroy the heavens and earth, but Yi Qinghan controlled the temperature of the flames. It was as if there was no temperature at all. A faint blue light enveloped the cauldron. The flame of life accompanied the blue demon flame and quickly burned the impurities in the cauldron into nothingness. Chapter 1748. Whoosh! The flames wrapped around the alchemy furnace. The inferior alchemy furnace was burned by the fire but did not explode. It was enough to show that the two's ability to control fire had reached the pinnacle, especially the Medicine King. His temperature was extremely high. If it was a non-divine alchemist controlling such a fire, it would be enough to burn a world treasure or divine weapon. However, the alchemy furnace in the Medicine King's hand did not move at all. The impurities in the furnace were all removed. The two's hand seals were completely different. The Medicine King represented the orthodox path of alchemy. However, Yi Qinghan's hand seals were a little strange. The temperature was normal. The flame's temperature was not even comparable to ordinary fire. How could it be used to refine elixirs? No one dared to make a noise. Jian Shisan did not underestimate Yi Qinghan. He looked at the two expectantly. As long as one of them can refine a furnace, it will be fine. Of course, if both of them can refine a furnace, that would be the best. Jian Shisan took a deep breath and muttered to himself. At this moment, Nanyuan Zhengbei did not even look at the Medicine King's method of refining elixirs. He focused on Yi Qinghan and comprehended Yi Qinghan's method of controlling the divine fire. His consciousness was attached to the alchemy furnace. Of course, this could only be done with Yi Qinghan's permission. Otherwise, the blue demonic fire would burn his consciousness to dust. Even if he survived, he would become a retard. Nanyuan Zhengbei used his consciousness to watch as Yi Qinghan controlled the flames to burn the divine medicine. He did not miss any step or detail. However, Yi Qinghan did not seem to care about the details. He completely relied on his control of the flames to control the blue demonic fire to the extreme. He would not waste any of the medicinal properties. Boom! Whoosh! The Medicine King controlled the four divine fires. While he was refining elixirs, he could also interfere with Yi Qinghan. They were refining elixirs and fighting. Yi Qinghan felt the fluctuation of the fire origin. With just a wave of his hand, he broke through the Medicine King's domain. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan suddenly reached out with both hands. Flames burned the sky and covered half of the martial arts arena. All unrelated people were thrown out. The flames were soul-stealing. It was like a golden fire dragon rushing in all directions. The fire dragon extended its sharp claws and wanted to devour the fire origin that the Medicine King controlled. Roar! The fire dragons controlled by the two sides roared and tore the void apart. The distance between the two sides was less than 10 meters. The fire dragons were within reach, and their auras were terrifying. The Medicine King was indeed a peak great god pill refiner. His ability to control the origin of fire was not much weaker than Yi Qinghan's. With just a Tier 14 god flame, it was almost impossible for Yi Qinghan to win against the Medicine King. Go! While Yi Qinghan was refining the divine medicine, he waved his hand and controlled the blue flame demon fire to transform into a dragon god. He swallowed the divine dragon controlled by the Pill King. The blue flame demonic fire swallowed everything and burned everything. In a split second, it had swallowed up the fire origin of the Medicine King. Roar! The blue dragon bit at the Medicine King's cauldron with lightning speed. The Medicine King retreated step by step, his face pale. Beads of sweat dripped from his forehead and his hands trembled. He knew that he had underestimated Yi Qinghan. Just based on his ability to control fire, he had lost to him. And this blue flame demon fire's level was obviously higher than a Tier 14 god flame. Jian Shisan saw that the Medicine King could not hold on any longer and was afraid that the ingredients in his cauldron would be wasted. He had spent a lot of effort to gather these ingredients. Jian Shisan quickly reminded him, I already know which of the two god pill refiners' fire control is stronger and which is weaker. Please do not waste this cauldron of ingredient. Yi Qinghan groaned and waved his hand to keep the blue flame demon fire. The Medicine King was sweating profusely and his clothes were wet. Yi Qinghan dispersed the demonic fire and felt much more relaxed. At this moment, his mind was in a mess. His soul spirit had almost been destroyed by the fire origin in the battle just now. His life force had dissipated a lot, and he did not have much life force to begin with. Now, he was in an even worse state. However, Yi Qinghan was not much better. His life force was burning. How long could 10,000 years of life force burn? Condense the pill. The divine medicine was refined into divine liquid, and not a single bit of its medicinal properties was wasted. Yi Qinghan muttered and formed seals with his fingers. He lowered the temperature, and his mental energy wrapped around the divine liquid and started to condense the pill. The first pill, the fire of life, wrapped around the true Qiankuan pill. Only the fire of life could condense the pill, and the temperature had to be controlled very well. Otherwise, the cauldron would definitely explode. The true Qiankuan pill was the divine pill that god pill refiners were most unwilling to refine, but it had the greatest effect. Huff, huff, huff. Yi Qinghan was gasping for breath. He could even feel his life force slipping away quickly. His skin became dry like a withered tree, decaying beyond compare. The aura of death enveloped and spread out. Jian Shisan was also shocked. He did not expect Yi Qinghan's life force to be so little. Refining a cauldron consumed so much. After condensing the 10th true Qiankuan pill, Yi Qinghan's life force was only left with 7,000 years. It was more than he had expected. Hua! Yi Qinghan quickened his pace and instantly wrapped around 3 strands of divine liquid, condensing them into pills. His life force was quickly consumed. Master, you can't refine anymore. We don't have much time left. The god bird warned in fear. Yi Qinghan took another breath. His 5 fingers grabbed the cauldron and condensed the last 2 strands of divine liquid into pills. The sweat on his forehead wet his bamboo hat. The temperature dropped step by step. He did not dare to be careless. The 15 true Qiankuan pills shone with a golden light and a fragrance that soared into the sky. The impurities were dried and their quality was very high, between high and supreme quality. If Yi Qinghan's life force was not enough, it would not be a problem for them to become supreme quality pills. Jian Shisan, please take the pills away. The quality is too high. I'm worried that they will escape on their own. Yi Qinghan's face was pale. He waved his hand and grabbed the dark gold rod in front of him. He supported himself on the ground and almost could not stand up. Bang! Yi Qinghan slapped the cauldron lid and it turned into fine powder. The 15 divine pills soared into the sky, dazzling like the scorching sun. Just as they were about to escape, they were forcefully taken away by Jian Shisan. He was as fast as lightning. The true pills had no chance to escape. The pills were formed. 15 true Qiankuan pills between high and supreme quality at once. In terms of time, they surpassed the Medicine King. In terms of grade, they definitely surpassed the Medicine King. Everyone was in an uproar. They did not expect Yi Qinghan's alchemy skills to surpass the Medicine King's. The Medicine King's reputation instantly collapsed and he was knocked down from his pedestal. Pooh! The Medicine King was furious. He did not have the heart to condense more divine pills. In the end, he vomited blood and failed. Jian Shisan felt a heartache. This cauldron of materials was priceless, but it failed at the crucial moment. Yi Qinghan clenched his teeth and slammed his palm on the cauldron. Blue demon fire wrapped around the cauldron. Before the medicinal effects dissipated, he took it and continued to condense. Jian Shisan was immediately overjoyed. With the experience of the first cauldron, the life force consumed this time was much less. After successfully condensing the pills, he was almost unable to stand. His spirit was exhausted to the extreme. Jian Shisan did not care about the cauldron of pills. He personally went forward to support Yi Qinghan. He treated him with the courtesy of a disciple and said respectfully, Junior did not know that the Saint Pill Master's life force was so scarce. Junior has a life force Saint Pill here. It is my second life. Senior must not dislike it. You must accept it. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan was overjoyed. He did not hesitate to grab the golden divine pill and directly swallowed it into his stomach. Chapter 1749. Yi Qinghan took out a golden pellet and swallowed it. Boundless life force flowed through his meridians. His limbs and bones were all activated. His skin became crystal clear and divine light flowed around him. A tyrannical and terrifying aura spread out as his peak state reappeared. It was a world of difference from his previous calm appearance. Although he still had a bamboo hat, he was still a supreme king just by standing there. Who would dare to blaspheme him? Jian Shisan took a few steps back and looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. He didn't expect that not only did he surpass the Medicine King in alchemy, even his battle strength could almost threaten his life. Qin Fenghua and Yu Congxing also took in a cold breath. Yi Qinghan was only a Sector Lord level 8, but his battle strength was obviously stronger than them. Qin Xianxian had some understanding of Yi Qinghan. The great Yi Qinghan fought against over 30 experts from the 3 major powers and retreated calmly. His battle strength definitely wouldn't be weak. However, this didn't stop her from looking at Yi Qinghan with infatuation. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and placed the dark gold rod on his back. He formed seals with his palms and guided the life force in his body to recover to 10,000 years. The life force in his body was still abundant. His body glowed with golden light like a divine medicine containing divinity. An hour later, Yi Qinghan absorbed all the medicinal power in his body. He could maintain his life force for at least 20,000 years. No wonder Jian Shisan said this was his second life. This life force Saint Pellet even healed half of Yi Qinghan's hidden injuries. Many thanks Tao friend for the medicine. These 2 cauldrons of Universe Saint True Pellets are my compensation. Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and said solemnly. Jian Shursan's face was filled with joy. This Saint Pellet was exchanged for 30 Universe Saint True Pellet. Naturally, he felt that he had taken advantage of the situation. However, in Yi Qinghan's eyes, 300 Universe Saint True Pellets couldn't even be exchanged for that life force Christmas. Everyone had their own needs. Everyone was happy. Lord Saint Pill Master, I didn't expect you to come. I didn't know your identity just now. Please don't blame me for being rude. Jian Shursan bowed and said. Medicine King's face was pale. The humiliation in his heart was gone. He was terrified. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to really be a Saint Pill Master. When a great Pill Master met a Saint Pill Master, it was like a Sector Lord meeting an Eternal Sovereign. The Eternal Sovereign pointed his mistake. He should be honored. How? Saint Pill Master, please punish me. Saint Pill Master. Saint Pill Master Master. Please punish me. Me, Master, for. Master, Master, Master. It. I was foolish, please punish me, Lord 13. The King of Medicine replied regretfully. Yi Qinghan, on the other hand, had other thoughts. His goal was to deal with the heaven-suppressing palace. He had no grudges with Medicine King, so there was no need for him to destroy him. Maybe he could even make use of him. Moments later, he said solemnly, Medicine King, as a pill master, you should focus on spreading the art of alchemy. You shouldn't give up the future of alchemy for the sake of short-term benefits. The future of alchemy represents the sacred ground's prosperity and development. Thank you, Lord Saint Pill Master. I know my mistake and I will definitely correct it. Medicine King kowtowed and said. In order to stop the world from talking and to calm Yi Qinghan's anger, Jian Shursan said, Medicine King, seeing that you have sacrificed your life for the sacred ground's Tao of alchemy, I will not punish you. However, the position of the Alchemist Association's president will be temporarily taken over by Senior Nan Yuan. You will be in charge of handling some trivial matters for him to make up for your mistakes. Or else, Shursan will disregard our friendship. Yi Qinghan remained silent. He neither agreed nor stopped Jian Shursan. Jian Shursan quickly bowed and asked, Lord Saint Pill Master, are you satisfied with this? Yi Qinghan nodded and said, Medicine King's alchemy skills are indeed good. It's good for him to make up for his mistakes. How about this? I will give you a task. As long as you complete it well, you can return to your original position. Maybe we can even discuss the art of alchemy. Medicine King was excited. He understood that a Saint Pill Master and a Divine Pill Master had nothing to discuss about alchemy. It was obvious that Jian Shursan wanted to impart some experience to him. To be able to learn from a Saint Pill Master was something that Medicine King couldn't get no matter how hard he begged. Saint Pill Masters usually didn't come out. They even kept their knowledge to themselves. Even when they imparted it to their own disciples, they would still hold back, let alone an outsider. Thank you, Lord Saint Pill Master. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will still complete the task given to me by Lord. Medicine King said excitedly. Yi Qinghan smiled indifferently. Medicine King's influence wasn't small, and he was also a local tyrant. If he could get him to help, the extreme yin and yang divine medicine and some supplementary materials would be no problem. I need a few sets of materials. Other than the extreme yin and yang divine medicine, the other materials aren't difficult for you. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and handed over a list. Other than the sky-purifying evil flame flower, there were more than 10 materials on the longevity pill. In order to curry favor with Yi Qinghan, Jian Shursan took the initiative to take the list. When he realized that he actually had 4 of the materials on the list, and there were quite a few of them, he hurriedly said, Lord Saint Pill Master, I have the sky-supporting bamboo, absolute beginning spirit plum, water moon essence and holy light spirit orchid. These 4 materials are all in this storage ring. Please accept them as a little token of my appreciation." With that, Jian Shisan hurriedly handed over a storage ring, full of anticipation, and handed it over to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan wasn't going to be polite. These were materials for the longevity pill, and his life was at stake. He took it without hesitation. Thank you. I'll return this favor to Master Shisan. Also, there's no need to call me senior. You and I are peers, Yi Qinghan said coolly after taking the storage ring. Jian Shisan hurriedly waved his hands. This junior wouldn't dare. Yi Qinghan didn't explain further. After all, he would leave the sacred land after using it. There was no need to explain anything. Jian Shisan handed the list to the Pill King and was about to bring it into the sacred land, but the Pill King was overjoyed when he took the list. "Lord Saint Pill Master, I already have 6 of the materials on this list, apart from the 4 divine herbs that Master Shisan just mentioned. There's only 1 divine herb of extreme yin and yang left, and 1 Tao fruit of reincarnation. These 2 main ingredients need to be found. As for the divine herbs of extreme yin and yang, an old friend of mine has them, and they're of very good quality. Only the Tao fruit of reincarnation is left. It exists in the cliff of reincarnation in hell and is very difficult to find. I'll give it to you." Yi Qinghan was overjoyed. He only needed the Tao fruit of reincarnation, and he knew where it lived. He could definitely find it. "Give me the materials you already have, and I'll definitely treat you well," Yi Qinghan said excitedly. Chapter 1750. After obtaining the materials, Yi Qinghan asked Qin Xianxian to stay behind while he went to the sacred ground with Jian Shisan. With Yi Qinghan's protection, Qin Xianxian naturally wouldn't be eliminated again. Thus, she advanced to the next round, and when the heaven-suppressing prefecture master looked at Yi Qinghan again, his eyes were filled with killing intent. The sacred ground of Sword Tao was a sacred ground with a radius of 30,000 miles. Obviously, it was not in the sacred city, but the sacred city was in the sacred ground. At the center of the sacred ground, the sacred mountain was where the dragon vein of the Sword Tao Great Eternal Sacred Ground was located. The sacred mountain was where the Sword Tao sect was located. There were many experts in the sacred mountain, and many were stronger than Jian Shisan. However, they were all from the older generation. Jian Shisan's position in the sacred mountain could be counted with one's fingers, and he was the strongest among the younger generation. Jian Shisan led Yi Qinghan into the sacred mountain and introduced Yi Qinghan to the others. A Saint Pellet Master was extremely rare, second only to an eternal being. The others bowed, and some of the smarter ones rushed to the sacred palace to report to the Sword Tao sect's sect master, Jian Shisan's master, Lord Sword. Lord Sword was Jian Shisan's master in name, but they were actually Jian Shisan's senior martial brothers, because the one who taught Jian Shisan was the Sword Tao Great Eternal Sacred Grounds Saint Lord. Lord Sword was only in charge of teaching Jian Shisan some experience in Sword Tao. After all, an eternal Saint Lord could not accompany Jian Shisan all the time. Sword Lord was in charge of the Sword Tao sect, and took care of the Sword Tao sect on behalf of the Eternal Sword Lord. He was highly regarded by the Sacred Lord and had never disappointed him over the years. Not only was his cultivation strong, reaching the peak of the half-step Eternal Realm and approaching the Eternal Sovereign Realm, but he was also tactful and smart. He had never encountered any major problems in controlling the vast Sword Tao Holy Land. Inside the sacred temple, a white-haired old man was playing chess with an old man in scholarly attire. The two of them were in high spirits, and every word they spoke and every action they took would affect the laws of eternal world. For them, flying was not a difficult task. The chessboard was similar to the star chessboard. The chess pieces on it flashed like stars and moved around constantly. Those who were slightly weaker would be completely lost in the chessboard, and their souls would be extinguished, but their mortal body would not die, and they would become the living dead. Every step the two old men took represented the truth of life and death. The Tao of the mortal world and the order of reincarnation could not exist here. Reporting. 13 senior brothers have brought a Saint Pill Master with them, and they are currently heading towards the sacred palace. A young disciple rushed to the sacred palace's entrance at the peak of the sacred mountain and prostrated himself on the ground as he reported. A white-haired old man in a white robe was holding a chess piece between his fingers. He stopped halfway and looked at the disciple outside the door in surprise. He asked in confusion, "Sacred Alchemy Master? Are you sure?" Replying to Lord Sect Master, this disciple heard Senior Brother 13's introduction. That person was dressed in black and wore a bamboo hat. I couldn't see his face clearly, so this disciple doesn't know which Saint Pill Master this person is, the young man quickly replied. The Confucian old man smiled and took the chess piece from the white-haired old man's hand. He suggested, "Senior brother, let's play this game another day. If it really is a saint alchemist, it wouldn't be good to neglect him. I'll accompany you down to greet him." The white-robed old man was Sovereign Sword, the sect master of the Sword Tao sect and the spokesperson of the Sacred Lord of the Sword Tao Great Eternal Sacred Land. He had never been defeated in his life and was invincible among supremes of the same level. However, he was stuck at the half-step Eternal Realm and had yet to break through. The Confucian old man was an in-name disciple of the Sacred Lord of the Sword Tao Great Eternal Sacred Land. However, he didn't cultivate the Sword Tao or the Divine Martial Tao, but the Chess Tao. He loved the star formations and was known as the Chess Sage. Don't think that he was easy to bully just because he didn't cultivate the Sword Tao or the Divine Martial Tao. Ordinary half-step Eternal Realm experts wouldn't be able to get within 10 meters of him. Sovereign Sword slowly stood up, full of majesty. He had lived in the sacred palace for many years, and his gaze could crush people to death. At this moment, the young man outside the sacred palace was so frightened that he didn't dare to look directly at him. "Junior brother, come down with me and have a look." Sovereign Sword slowly stepped down the sacred mountain. His speed seemed slow, but he was already halfway up the mountain. The chess sage followed closely behind, stirring up the nebula in an imposing manner. Yi Qinghan suddenly raised his head and looked at the two old men. He was shocked. Apart from the Eternal Realm experts, such existences were invincible in the world. Junior Yi Qinghan greets the two seniors. Yi Qinghan bowed slightly and cupped his fists in the manner of a disciple. Yi Qinghan didn't hide his real name. It would be strange if the chess sage and Sovereign Sword couldn't see through his bamboo hat. If he hid it, it would definitely arouse the dissatisfaction of the two supremes. That wouldn't be good. Therefore, he simply told them his real name. Yi Qinghan? What a familiar name. Sovereign Sword asked in surprise. Jian Shusan was also stunned. He had definitely heard of Yi Qinghan's name before. Naturally, he knew about his deeds. He even wanted to spar with him previously. However, the chess sage stroked his white beard and reminded with a smile, "Senior brother, you're too busy to remember. This person is wanted by Hell, Blessed Buddha Temple, and the Bounty Hunter headquarters. I didn't expect him to be so powerful. He's even a sacred elixir master. If they knew, they wouldn't be so rough." Jian Shusan looked at Yi Qinghan in surprise. He wanted to reach out and take off his bamboo hat, but out of respect, he didn't do so. "Seniors, fellow Taoist Jian Shusan, this isn't the place for me to take off my bamboo hat. If it's convenient, we can go up and meet each other frankly. I have no intention of deceiving you," Yi Qinghan quickly explained. Jian Shusan scratched his head and smiled. Thinking about it, it made sense. What was Yi Qinghan's identity? With so many people wanted, even he wouldn't dare to show his real face. Come up with me. Knowing Yi Qinghan's true identity, Sovereign Sword didn't exchange pleasantries. He turned and walked up after speaking. The sacred mountain's spirit chi soared to the sky. The great formation gathered the power of heaven and earth and the fortune of the world's dragon veins. From the bottom to the top, no one dared to blaspheme it. From the top, all the mountains looked small and majestic. It was definitely a sacred land among sacred lands. The mountain path was rugged and rocky. In consideration of Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan's inability to fly, Sovereign Sword and Chess Sage walked slowly. An hour later, they reached the top of the mountain. Yi Qinghan stood at the top of the mountain and took a deep breath. He reached out and touched the clouds. Everything within 10,000 miles of the eternal sacred land was in his sight. Countless buildings reached into the clouds. The heavens were under his control. The yin and yang of the universe converged. No wonder the eternal sacred land could survive for so long. Yi Qinghan reached out and took off his bamboo hat. He had an imposing appearance and held the dusk metal staff in his hand. His domineering aura soared to the heavens. He looked more like a supreme war god, a supreme king of the younger generation. Jian Shisan had lived a bit longer than Yi Qinghan, but Yi Qinghan now had an aura of vicissitude. In the eyes of the two, perhaps Yi Qinghan was more mature. Jian Shisan looked at Yi Qinghan in surprise. He didn't think that such a young supreme war monarch would become a pill saint in Pill Dao. It was unbelievable that he'd killed the Pill King. Chapter 1751. Aren't you afraid that I'll send you to the blessed Buddha temple? Sword Lord looked at Yi Qinghan expressionlessly. You're hated by everyone. Why did you come to the eternal sacred land of Sword Dao? Yi Qinghan smiled and replied confidently, I believe in the eternal Sword Dao sacred ground and the seniors of the Sword Dao sect. The sword is the king of weapons. It emphasizes righteousness. If one doesn't have righteousness in his heart, he won't be able to reach the peak of the Sword Dao. Looking at the Sword Dao sacred ground, I'm sure the seniors of the Sword Dao sacred ground have their own righteousness and principles. They won't associate themselves with people like the blessed Buddha temple. Hearing Yi Qinghan's flattery, Lord Sword was very happy even though he didn't show it on the surface. The Sword Dao sect had been under his control all these years and had a good reputation. Being acknowledged by the experts was naturally an acknowledgement of him. Please have a seat. Whoosh! Lord Sword waved his hand and brought over 4 stone chairs and a stone table. It seemed like a casual move, but it exuded the aura of a king of the Sword Dao, as if everything in the world was under his control. Yi Qinghan bowed to express his gratitude. In terms of cultivation, he was the weakest among the 4. In terms of combat strength, he could only fight with Jian Shisan. If he were to face Lord Sword and Chess Saint, he wouldn't even have a chance to fight. Therefore, it was better to keep a low profile here. Yi Qinghan sat in the lower seat. The divine bird finally couldn't hold back and climbed out of his arms. It looked at the 3 experts of the Sword Dao sect with a flattering expression, as if it couldn't wait to wipe Lord Sword's shoes. So this is the supreme Sword Dao sect. No wonder this is the position that this divine bird has been yearning for all my life. Sacred ground. The divine bird covered its eyes with its beak. It couldn't wait to crawl in front of everyone and flatter them. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes and exhaled. He pressed the divine bird on the table and scolded coldly, the seniors of the Sword Dao sect are supreme venerables. They don't care about personal gain or personal gain. Put away your wretched and flattering expression. Don't give me that. The divine bird said wretchedly, I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. Ha ha, is this the divine bird that pretended to be the blessed Buddha Lord? Interesting. Chess Saint stroked his beard and laughed heartily. That's me. How should I address you? The divine bird struggled free from Yi Qinghan's grip and asked in a flattering manner. Everyone calls me Chess Supremacy, Chess Supremacy replied faintly. Oh, heavens, Master Chess Supreme, I've heard so much about you. My respect for you is like the surging river, the overflowing Milky Way, unstoppable. You're my idol. Along the way from the blessed Buddha temple's territory, countless people have praised you and worshipped you. The divine bird began to show its despicable nature again, spouting nonsense like a train. Yi Qinghan covered his face as a black line appeared on his forehead. He looked awkwardly at revered Lord Sword and the others. Since when had the divine bird ever heard of the chess saint's name? He had never even heard of revered Lord Sword before. To flatter him like this upon meeting him, he was truly shameless. Ha ha ha! Chess Supremacy laughed heartily. With his intelligence, how could he not know that the divine bird was trying to flatter him? However, it was rare for a bird to be so intelligent. Revered Lord Sword stared at the divine bird expressionlessly. He waved his hand and took out a large amount of spiritual fruits and immortal wine as food while they chatted. The divine bird swallowed its saliva and looked at revered Lord Sword flatteringly. It said in a wretched manner, "Look at how majestic this supreme lord is, shrouded in an aura of righteousness and standing proudly like a sword god. You must be the sect leader of the Sword Doctrine sect, revered Lord Sword. My respect for you, also like the surging river?" Revered Lord Sword interrupted the divine bird's flattery and asked directly. The divine bird's breath stagnated and it thought to itself, "This fellow doesn't give me any face at all. I wanted to compliment you, but it seems like you won't be able to enjoy it." Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly and fidgeted awkwardly. He could only say, "Esteemed lords, please don't lower yourself to its level. It's just a cheap talker." What an interesting divine bird. It dares to pretend to be the Lord of Blessed Buddha to save its own master. It can be seen that it's a loyal divine pet. Sword 13 smiled. When the divine bird heard that, it was immediately energized. It trembled and said proudly, "Lord 13 understands this divine bird best. I'm not just loyal. For my master, I'm willing to sacrifice my life for him. My loyalty will never change." This time, even a cold old man like revered Lord Sword laughed and said, "No wonder the Lord of Blessed Buddha was willing to pay 5 million strands of wealth to capture you." When the divine bird heard that, it was happy instead of being shocked. It smiled and said, "Master, it seems like I'm more valuable than you." Yi Qinghan stared at the divine bird angrily. He had come to the sacred hall for proper business, but the divine bird had messed up his plans the moment it appeared. He didn't know where to start now. The three powerhouses of the sacred ground laughed. With such a divine pet, they wouldn't be lonely on the road. Yi Qinghan sent him flying with a slap. Then, he said to revered Lord Sword with a serious expression, "Senior, I've come here today mainly because I have a request. As long as you allow it, please state your conditions. This junior will definitely not frown." A request? That depends on whether you're qualified or not. Let me ask you, are you really a sacred pill master? Revered Lord Sword asked curiously. Yi Qinghan replied confidently, "I can't guarantee that I'm a sacred pill master, but as long as you give me the pill recipe, there's no pill I can't refine." Revered Lord Sword's eyes flashed. Although a 5th-grade pill recipe was expensive, as long as one had money, there was nothing they couldn't buy. Yi Qinghan wasn't a sacred pill master, but he was half a sacred pill master. Not only could a sacred pill master concoct 5th-grade divine pills, they could also create their own pill recipes. The value of a sacred pill master far exceeded that of a half-step eternal expert. Yi Qinghan was slightly lacking, but he could be nurtured. As a sacred ground, it was worth it to nurture a sacred pill master of their own. There were 2 sacred pill masters in the Sword Tao Eternal Sacred Ground, but they were very prideful. Even revered Lord Sword had to consider their mood before asking them to refine pills. "Speak, what is it?" Revered Lord Sword stared at Yi Qinghan and asked. "I want to destroy the heaven-suppressing palace. I don't ask for your help, but Senior, please don't stop me," Yi Qinghan said with determination. Chess Saint and revered Lord Sword stared at Yi Qinghan. The heaven-suppressing palace was huge and had connections with the Sword Dao sect. Many of the Sword Dao sect's deacons and elders had interests with them. If they wanted to take them down, it would affect the entire sect. Even if the heaven-suppressing palace was destroyed, the Sword Dao sect would experience a huge earthquake. "Why?" Chess Saint frowned and asked. "You should know better than me how the heaven-suppressing palace developed. Families were slaughtered, blood flowed like rivers and bones were dried up. But no matter how vicious they are, there will always be survivors. So, I'm just doing what I'm promised," Yi Qinghan calmly replied. Revered Lord Sword shook his head and murmured, "The heaven-suppressing palace is very important to the Sword Dao sect. It contains countless benefits. If the heaven-suppressing palace is destroyed, the Sword Dao sect will suffer a great loss." Yi Qinghan looked at revered Lord Sword's attitude and knew that he had a chance. But now it was just a game. Revered Lord Sword was testing his bottom line and how much he was willing to sacrifice. Chapter 1752. Yi Qinghan, Lord Sword, and the other three sat across each other and drank. Yi Qinghan tried his best to keep a low profile, hoping that they could reach an agreement. If the two elders of the Sword Dao sect didn't agree, the heaven-suppressing palace could not be destroyed. Lord Sword looked straight at Yi Qinghan and asked, "The heaven-suppressing palace is very important to the Sword Dao sect. How much are you willing to pay to destroy it?" The heaven-suppressing palace's location is not bad. The land it controls is rich in resources, surrounded by mountains in the southwest, Peach Blossom City in the east, and the heart of the sacred ground in the north. West-suppressing heaven controls the heaven-suppressing palace. How much of the profits will be given to the Sword Dao sect? Yi Qinghan asked. 30% will be paid to the Sword Dao sect, and we'll have to bribe some elders, deacons, and some powerful disciples. We'll have to hand over about 50% of the profits. Lord Sword didn't hide anything and went straight to the point. 50% of the profits was indeed a huge number. Without the Sword Dao sect doing anything, the Sword Dao sect would be able to earn 50 million faith coins in a year. No wonder the Sword Dao sect would protect the heaven-suppressing palace. I will give 30 million to the Sword Dao sect every year and help the Sword Dao Eternal Sacred Ground cultivate at least one Saint Pill Master. Are you willing? Yi Qinghan asked seriously. Saint Chess Sovereign and Lord Sword exchanged a glance. Their eyes were filled with interest. However, Saint Pill Masters were not easy to cultivate. Even one of them would require hundreds of thousands of years of hard work and effort, let alone two. Some would even die of old age, and still not be able to reach the pinnacle of the alchemy path. For example, Medicine King and Nan Yuan Zhengbei. Who do you want to cultivate? Lord Sword asked. Nan Yuan Zhengbei from Nan Yuan City and Qin Xianxian from Fire Beacon City. One of them is strong and the other is talented. At least one of them can become a Saint Pill Master. They belong to the Sword Dao sect and will not betray you. Especially Nan Yuan Zhengbei. He is equivalent to a member of the Sword Dao sect. Give him an honorary elder and the Sword Dao sect will have a Saint Pill Master. You won't have to look at others anymore, am I right? Yi Qinghan said. Deal. Paragon Sword clapped his hands and said. With Yi Qinghan's promise, Nan Yuan Zhengbei and Qin Xianxian were quickly summoned by Lord Sword. It was a formal meeting and Qin Xianxian was rewarded with some treasures. After expressing his goodwill, Nan Yuan Zhengbei asked Sword 13 to work with Yi Qinghan to destroy the heaven-suppressing palace. The huge heaven-suppressing palace was given up just like that, all for the sake of profit. At this moment, Yi Qinghan also understood that as long as the blessed Buddha Lord personally came to make a deal with them, he would be abandoned at any time. For the sake of their reputation, the Sword Dao sect would never openly help Yi Qinghan. After all, the heaven-suppressing palace was too powerful to be wiped out. Sword 13 led Yi Qinghan to the Sword Dao sect's everlasting peak, which was his own peak. There are a total of 9 peaks in the Sword Dao sect, representing the 9 great inheritances. The first is the Saint Mountain, which represents the true inheritance of the Sword Dao sect, followed by the Everlasting Peak, Tian Luo Peak, Qing Jian Peak, Nirvana Peak, Sangjian Peak, Great Saint Peak, Chu Jian Peak, and Saint Chess Peak. Sword 13 pointed at the 9 peaks and explained to Yi Qinghan. Other than me, the 9 peak lords are all half-step eternal sovereigns. They are also my senior martial brothers. The 2 lords of the Saint Mountain and Saint Chess Peak are Lord Sword and Lord Saint Chess respectively. Lord Sword Lord is my teacher in name. Yi Qinghan nodded. He couldn't help but admit the strength of the Sword Dao sect. Any peak lord from the Sword Dao sect could easily wipe out an entire region. Brother Yi, if you want to destroy the heaven-suppressing palace, you will need some help first. Our Sword Dao sect cannot provide you with any help. Sword 13 said solemnly. I understand. Yi Qinghan nodded. Sword 13 smiled and said, but I can help you. Consider it as me returning the favor. But when I attack, I will not use my strongest sword move. I'm afraid that it will only be equivalent to a Realm Lord level 9 expert. Yi Qinghan laughed and replied, with Lord 13's help, that would be the best. There will be no need for me to use my strongest sword move. With the help of the Southern Abyss City and Medicine King Manor, if Lord 13 can help me contact some experts, destroying the heaven-suppressing palace shouldn't be a problem. Sword 13 nodded and reminded, in this operation, quality is the most important factor, not quantity. If the news is leaked, not only will the Sword Dao sect fail, it will also damage the reputation of the Sword Dao sect and your identity will be exposed. The 2 discussed for a while, and Yi Qinghan learned the true number of experts in the heaven-suppressing palace. Just the Realm Lord level 9 experts alone, there were 4 of them. And these were only the forces on the surface. No one knew how many consecrators they had in the dark. Including the consecrators and Realm Lord level 8 experts, there were a total of 23 of them. The number of Realm Lord level 6 experts, and above, had reached close to 100. Yi Qinghan asked curiously, why would a local force recruit so many consecrators? The profits of the heaven-suppressing palace must have been used to feed them. Sword 13 smiled and said, Shi Zhentian thought that he did it without anyone knowing. But in fact, the consecrators he recruited are all under his control. Otherwise, our Sword Dao sect wouldn't have given up on him. Yi Qinghan shook his head. He still couldn't understand and said, without the Eternal Ones, no matter how many consecrators he recruited, he won't be able to overturn the heavens. This guy is quite ambitious. No matter how ambitious he is, it all ends here. Shi Zhentian has 3 Realm Lord level 8 experts and 1 Hidden Realm Lord level 9 expert. Other than these 5, the Heaven-Suppressing Palace's headquarters has 2 more Realm Lord level 9 expert. At most, we can give him 2 more Pinnacle experts and eliminate him in one night. Sword 13 said coldly. Yi Qinghan suddenly felt like he was being used as a gun. The Sword Dao sect clearly wanted to eliminate this malignant tumor. They wanted to borrow his hand and he even made 2 promises. If that's the case, then please imprison Shi Zhentian and the others in the Saint Mountain. We will find the right people today and depart tomorrow. Yi Qinghan's killing intent was set. He didn't want to wait any longer and said, I will be in charge of finding 2 Realm Lord Level 9 experts and 20 Realm Lord Level 8 experts. The rest will be left to the Medicine King Manor, Nan Yuan City, Fire Beacon City and Yu Clan. Sword 13 replied calmly. Yi Qinghan nodded in agreement. Qin Fenghua himself was a Sector Lord Level 9 expert. Dealing with 3 to 5 Sector Lord Level 8 experts was a piece of cake for him. As for Yu Tsongxing, dealing with the Sector Lord Level 6 experts would only be a matter of time before the Heaven Suppressing Palace was destroyed. Yi Qinghan quickly returned to the Yu clan where Qin Fenghua and the others were waiting for him. When they saw his return, they immediately went up to him. Let's go back to the room first, Yi Qinghan said seriously. The 4 of them quickly returned to the main palace. Qin Fenghua and the others saw Yi Qinghan's serious expression and quickly asked, Mr. Yang, did something happen? Yi Qinghan waved his hand and opened the map. The red line pointed at the Heaven Suppressing Palace and said, I need the help of the 2 seniors to destroy the Heaven Suppressing Palace. Don't worry, we will not be the only ones involved. There will be another force, 3 Realm Lord Level 9 Pinnacle experts and 20 Realm Lord Level 8 experts. I need more experts, preferably above Realm Lord Level 8. I don't need too many, but they must be trustworthy. Is there anyone who can help me? The 3 of them were furious. The Heaven-Suppressing Palace was like the sun in the sky with countless experts. Who was going against the Heaven-Suppressing Palace? With so many experts, were they going to destroy the powerful Heaven-Suppressing Palace in a single night? Some things are best left unsaid. You just need to help me find a few trustworthy experts. We will depart tomorrow. Don't mobilize the Fire Beacon City's people and don't tell them the real target. We will tell them when we reach the Heaven Suppressing Palace. Yi Qinghan quickly finished his words and continued, I will look for Nan Yuan Zhengbei and Yao Wang. They will help as well. Yu Tsongxing and Qin Fenghua looked at each other and took a deep breath. They finally understood that it was really easy for someone to destroy a huge force. Chapter 1753. In the Nan Yuan residence, Nan Yuan Zhengbei was checking the results of the competition. Seeing Yi Qinghan come personally, he asked in shock, Teacher, why did you come personally? Elder Nan Yuan, do you have any Sector Lord Level 8 and above that you can trust? Find me a few. Yi Qinghan asked directly. As great god pill masters, their battle prowess was not very strong. They would more or less have some loyal followers, and their cultivations were all very strong. They relied on the great god pill masters, and also protected the great god pill masters. It could be said that they coexisted. Nan Yuan Zhengbei was one of the top-tier great god pill masters. Although he didn't have anyone by his side, if Yi Qinghan dared to harm him, there would naturally be people stopping him. Moreover, Yi Qinghan wouldn't succeed. I have 6 friends, 2 Sector Lord Level 9 and 4 Sector Lord Level 8 expert. They have followed me for many years. If you need them, they will naturally be willing to help. Nan Yuan Zhengbei immediately said. Shua. The moment Nan Yuan Zhengbei finished speaking, 6 experts appeared in the depths of the residence. This made Yi Qinghan shocked. When he came, he did see 4 Sector Lord Level 8 expert. However, he didn't see the 2 Sector Lord Level 9 experts. These 6 are my life and death friends. They can be trusted. Nan Yuan Zhengbei said. Saint Pillmaster, if you have any requests, we will definitely do it. The 2 leading black-robed elders bowed and said. Yi Qinghan scanned the 4. He noticed that the 2 leading experts didn't have much life force left. They should be from the same generation as Nan Yuan Zhengbei. Their aura was reserved. Once it exploded, it would cause mountains to crumble. Follow me. After this matter is over, I won't mistreat you. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Nan Yuan Zhengbei hurriedly said to the 6, Brother Zhu, brother and I, you must listen to teacher's instructions. Teacher is a saint pill master. If you need something urgently, teacher will definitely be able to refine it. Since teacher said he won't mistreat you, he will naturally give you what you need. Remember, you must ensure teacher's safe return. After the 6 of them had expressed their stance, Yi Qinghan brought them back to the Yu clan. Soon after, he went to the Medicine King Pavilion. Inside the Medicine King's pavilion, the Medicine King's face was solemn as he said to his disciples, "I don't care what method you use, but you must prepare 3 sets of these 11 ingredients for me, especially the extreme yin and yang divine medicine. I will take as many as you have, regardless of the price. As for the Tao fruit of reincarnation, if you can find it, no matter how much the other party wants, you don't have to haggle. You must get it." The Medicine King mobilized all the forces of the Medicine King Hall and the Medicine King Manor. His disciples and grand disciples all went into action. There was no need for them to refine the pills. All of them went to search for the ingredients for the longevity pill. As a great god alchemist, he knew best what these ingredients were used for. Whether he could survive or not depended on whether the ingredients were gathered and whether the quantity was sufficient. The Medicine King's order quickly spread to the areas under the Medicine King's pavilion's influence. It even spread to the periphery, seeping into the Blessed Buddha Temple, Sacred Spirit Trading Company, and other major powers. What the Medicine King Hall had was wealth. They were so rich that they could rival a country. Buying 11 ingredients wouldn't hurt his foundation. Even if it did, the Medicine King would do it for his life. After all, if he couldn't break through to the Saint Pill Master realm, it was equivalent to having 1 foot in hell. In just half a day, the Medicine King Hall had spent money and effort. Countless people were working for them to search for the treasures and ingredient. Yi Qinghan stepped into the Medicine King Hall. The Medicine King personally ran out to welcome him. His face was full of respect, without any trace of arrogance. "Saint Pill Master, I've already sent a large group of people to search for the ingredients you requested. There will definitely be results in a short period of time." The Medicine King bowed and said, "This time I'm looking for you for something else. Do you have any experts you can trust, at least Sector Lord level 8 and above?" Yi Qinghan glanced at the Medicine King and asked. The Medicine King didn't dare to raise his head. He hurriedly replied, "The Medicine King Hall has 12 consecrators, all of them Sector Lord level 8 and above. I can completely trust them because they are all poisoned. Other than me, no one can help them relieve their pain." Yi Qinghan glanced at the Medicine King indifferently. He was the one who drugged them. Otherwise, how could so many Sector Lord level 8 and above experts be poisoned? This Medicine King was truly vicious, making all Sector Lord level 8 and above experts his slaves. "Bring them and follow me," Yi Qinghan said coldly. The Medicine King didn't dare to ask any more questions. He quickly headed towards the independent residence of the Medicine King's pavilion. There were 12 experts living here, and each of them was a famous existence. They were either overlords who had disappeared for a long time, or wanted criminals. 3 of them had their faces disfigured, and it was impossible to see what they looked like. At this moment, their eyes were lifeless, as if they were puppets who only listened to the orders of the Medicine King. Yi Qinghan looked at the 12. 4 of them were Sector Lord level 9. They were conscious, but their expressions were tired. They were probably poisoned. CSISI. The Bug Queen Mother actually floated on Yi Qinghan's arm. It controlled its black mouth and wanted to devour the poison in their bodies to evolve. When the Medicine King saw the Bug Queen Mother on Yi Qinghan's arm, his expression changed. His eyes were filled with respect and fear. If a Saint Pill Master wanted to kill someone, he didn't even need to make a move. Just some poison was enough. "Help me complete a mission. This seat will release your freedom and remove the poison in your body," Yi Qinghan said coldly. CSISI. Half of the 12 experts were still intelligent. Their eyes lit up with excitement. The Medicine King was shocked. He hurriedly said, "Saint Pill Master." Yi Qinghan coldly glanced at the Medicine King and said firmly, "My decision won't change. As for you, there will be other compensation. As a great god Pill Master, if you want experts to protect you, you should give up some benefits. Naturally, there will be people willing to follow you. What's the use of poison to control people?" Yes. My lord is right. This old man is too obsessed with benefit. Cold sweat dripped from the Medicine King's forehead. He didn't dare to say anything else. "Follow me." Yi Qinghan flicked his sleeves and left. Pill King personally led the 12 experts out of the courtyard. All of them wore black bamboo hats, which had been specially refined. As long as the bamboo hat was not taken off, no one would know the identity of the other party unless they were half-step eternal sovereigns. Yi Qinghan used the message talisman to inform Yu Tsongxing and Qin Fenghu. They also brought 4 experts, all of them at Sector Lord Level 8. Including Nanyuan Jingbei's 6 followers, there were 12 of them. They put on their bamboo hats and black clothes and rushed out of the city. Qin Xianxian stayed in the Yu clan and continued to participate in the competition. She wouldn't be of any use in such a battle. 26 people, dressed in black and armed with divine weapons, quickly gathered outside the city. At this time, Jian 13 had already followed the agreement. He brought 2 terrifying sword experts and 20 Sector Lord Level 8 experts to wait at the entrance of a valley outside the city. They were dressed the same. No one knew their true identity. Only Yi Qinghan and Jian 13 knew who they were. Chapter 1754. Jian Shisan wore a dark brown battle robe and held a sharp sword in his hand. He stood there like a sharp weapon and his aura was restrained, but he still gave off an invisible pressure. "Everyone, now that we're here, it's time to let you know our destination. It's the heaven-suppressing palace and I want all realm lords. I don't need any prisoners." Yi Qinghan stood at the front and said solemnly to the group of experts, "With so many factions gathered here, any one of these 50 experts would be able to sweep through the entire heaven-suppressing palace." Medicine King inhaled a breath of cold air as he didn't expect Yi Qinghan's target to be the heaven-suppressing palace. This meant that there was no need to guess the identity of the other group of experts. He was a cunning old fox and he was very smart. Thus, he didn't make any unnecessary movements and followed Yi Qinghan closely. "Once we leave the Saint City, we will head straight for the Wang City. There are too many of us and we will be easily exposed. So, we will split up and gather at the Peach Blossom City. It will take about a month to cross the 2 cities. 30 days later, we will gather at the Peach Blossom Spring thousands of miles away from the Peach Blossom City and we will move together." Jian Shisan lowered his voice and said, "Everyone, this operation is very secretive. I will not ask about your identities, but since I called you all here, it means that I trust you all very much. If any of you dare to leak any information, I can guarantee that no one will be able to save you." Yi Qinghan didn't say anything. Medicine King's men were all poisoned, they would definitely not betray Medicine King. So, he only needed to bring Medicine King along. As for Qin Fenghua and Yu Tsongxing's men, they would bring them along and the Nanyuan city's people would follow them. Jian Shisan then quickly led his men and disappeared into the night. Yi Qinghan looked down at the crowd and whispered to Qin Fenghua and Yu Tsongxing, "The 2 of you, bring your 4 friends along. After this mission, I will let you all live another life." Yes. Yu Tsongxing and Qin Fenghua were extremely excited. With the Saint Pellet Master's promise, they must complete this mission even if it costs them their lives. Yi Qinghan looked at the Nanyuan city's people and clasped his fists. "Since I promised them, I will also promise you all. As long as there are enough materials, you all will not be disappointed." Sir, don't worry. We will never betray you. Zhu Song and Ni Delong, who were in the lead, quickly replied. The 6 people from southern Abyss City left, leaving behind only the people from Medicine King Pavilion. Yi Qinghan pondered for a moment and let the 4-sector Lord Level 9, who were still conscious, move alone, while the rest followed Pill King and advanced with him. After the arrangements were made, the 50 of them quickly disappeared into the night and rushed towards Watchful City from different routes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of figures were separated by tens of thousands of li, constantly leaping through space. They couldn't fly, but they shot into the distance like swords of lightning. Yi Qinghan and the others went on day after day, night after night. They rested during the day and traveled at night. They maintained their peak condition and didn't dare to be careless. As Yi Qinghan was carrying out his task, Jian Chenxue stepped into Eternal World from the 9 provinces. Jian Chenxue had no desires and her thoughts were simple. She only wanted to reach the pinnacle of the human world. Her mentality was also very peaceful. She took care of her children and accompanied the elderly. Her mental state grew much faster than ordinary people. Even desolate Lord Yi, who had Yi Qinghan's bloodline, couldn't compare to her. She wore a snow robe and wherever she walked, snow would fall. Her restrained aura wouldn't startle the beasts and bandits, but the beasts and bandits would immediately retreat when they saw her. Even if someone was blinded by lust, they would try their best to restrain themselves and not clash with her. Jian Chenxue's temperament was too cold. She was like a saintess from a super holy land. She had a round face and smooth skin. Her movement technique was even more terrifying than Yi Qinghan's. She could actually walk on the snow as if she was flying. Her speed was extremely fast. Jian Chenxue spent 2 months to step out of the Absolute region and headed straight for Blessed Buddha Temple. At the same time, Lin Wutian also entered Blessed Buddha Temple's territory. He had entered a dangerous place from the Absolute region and only came out after nearly 1,000 years of experience. At this moment, he was weary and weary. He looked like a peerless swordsman grandmaster. Although he looked young, who could say that this person wouldn't kill when he attacked? The 2 of them bumped into each other outside a big city, and their eyes were filled with surprise. Jian Chenxue and Lin Wutian had just entered Blessed Buddha Temple, and were always hesitant. They were inexplicably excited to meet someone they could trust here. Auntie, why did you personally come to the outside world? Lin Wutian asked respectfully while holding his sheathed divine sword. Jian Chenxue looked like a beautiful young man. She didn't feel embarrassed at all when Lin Wutian called her that. She replied softly, something happened in the inner world. The little girl that second master brought back woke up. She was taken out of the godly dragon cauldron by the star chessboard. I was worried that something might happen, so I came to find her and go back. Lin Wutian was shocked and immediately replied, Auntie, why don't I go back with you? I don't know where second master has been all these years, but I heard that he is wanted. It will be difficult to find him. Jian Chenxue shook her head helplessly. No, the desolate lord and I can't do anything to the defense of the star chessboard. That divine weapon should be a transcendental weapon. I don't think even your second master can do anything to it. I just hope that the little girl will have a clear consciousness when she wakes up. The 2 walked side by side. They chatted while looking for Yi Qinghan's whereabout. The martial supremacy Holy Land was in the north of the Central Earth Holy Nation. It was covered in snow all year round. The scenery was picturesque, and snow floated down from the sky. 2 little girls who looked like they were only 12 or 13 years old were flying in the snow. Their temperament and appearance were 50% similar. Their voices were like the sounds of nature, and their bell-like laughter echoed. Sister, come and chase me. Whoosh, although the 2 were young, they were as fast as the wind and the moon. They almost flew into the sky and crossed 2 mountains in the blink of an eye. The divine treasure that looked like a steel ring under their feet could actually allow them to fly in the air. Sister, be careful. Watch my airwalk. Whoosh, whoosh. The girl behind them had big round eyes. Her pink and chubby face was flushed. She stepped into the air and actually flew. The order of heaven and earth seemed to be unable to suppress her to the ground. Her white dress swept up the snowflakes in the sky, making her look like a fairy descending to the mortal world. Two little ancestors, don't be naughty anymore. Otherwise, you will be scolded again. If the Supreme Patriarch gets angry, I can't protect you. A middle-aged man appeared behind the two girls. He was running wildly on the ground, but he could also step on the snow without leaving a trace. At this moment, he was chasing after them like a nanny, afraid that he would lose them. The Martial Tao Supreme had daughters at an old age, and they were twins. They were extremely talented, smart, and cute. They were deeply doted on. The entire sacred ground was in chaos because of the birth of the two babies. However, if the Martial Tao Supreme wasn't angry, who would dare to say anything? The two living treasures shuttled through the forbidden areas of the sacred ground's major sects and families. The major forces were so scared that they didn't dare to open the forbidden area's mechanism for fear of hurting the two children. At this moment, a pressure enveloped the snowy mountain. Following that, a white-haired old man appeared. He didn't have the slightest majesty, just like an ordinary old man. However, he had torn the void and suddenly appeared. This strength was not something that a half-step eternal sovereign could do. Chapter 1755. In the Martial Tao Perfected Monarch's sacred ground, the old man looked at the two little ones lovingly. His hands turned into huge palms, and no matter how the two tried to escape, they couldn't escape from his palms. Grand Ancestor, you're here. When the middle-aged expert saw the old man, he immediately knelt down respectfully. It seemed like the old man's identity was obvious. He was the Saint Lord of the Martial Tao Perfected Monarch Sacred Ground, Martial Tao Perfected Monarch Guan Jingtian. A true eternal being. It's fine now, you can go back first. The Martial Tao Perfected Monarch lifted the middle-aged man up with a smile. Wha! Another huge palm pierced through the void and grabbed the two little beauties. With a wave of the hand, the two little ones were brought before him. Qin, Sheng, you two have played enough. Come back with me. Guan Jingtian smiled. He placed the two in front of him and spoke softly. Father, why are we going back? The two little girls looked up at the old man with their innocent eyes and asked curiously. Go and face your tribulation. If you can get through this tribulation, you will definitely be able to soar into the sky. If you can't, then I can't do anything. So, I have prepared a few helpers for you this time. I have also refined some magical weapons for you. I hope you can get through this tribulation. Guan Jingtian said softly. The two little girls were still wet behind the ears. How would they know what calamity was? In their hearts, who would dare to harm them? Yi Qinghan was on his way with a group of people. Suddenly, he sneezed and felt a chill down his spine. He almost fell to the ground. He didn't expect that Emperor Yi and Bai Xiaoxing's reincarnation had grown up. How did this happen? Yi Qinghan was shocked by the sudden premonition. It had been many years since he had such a strong premonition. It couldn't be a warning from the mission. If so many people failed to reach the Heaven-Suppressing Palace, then the Heaven-Suppressing Palace would be too powerful. They had been traveling for a month, and the Peach Blossom City was getting closer. Sword 13 was probably already in the city. The Medicine King saw Yi Qinghan's breathing stagnate and hurriedly asked, My lord, what's wrong? Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and shook his head. It's fine. We should be able to arrive before dawn. Let's work harder. We're just in time. The others should be faster than us. The Medicine King brought along a few puppet-like experts. His speed was definitely much slower than Yi Qinghan's group. Yi Qinghan had no choice but to wait for them. The group of 10 shuttled through the night, blending in with the darkness. Yi Qinghan gripped his oilcloth-wrapped night-metal staff as he flew through the air, stepping on the weeds and thistles. Sha sha sha. The Medicine King almost couldn't take it anymore, but in order to please Yi Qinghan, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and continue forward. In a peach blossom garden, 10 people swept up the dancing peach blossoms. Facing the moonlight, a baleful aura swept out and the peach blossoms shattered. Within the Peach Blossom City, Sword 13 had already taken control of the city gate. He stood on the city wall and looked down, watching the experts enter the city one by one. They were all men dressed in black and wearing bamboo hats. They wore a bewitching flower on their shoulder. Everyone in this operation had one on their shoulder, making it easy to identify. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Black figures entered the Peach Blossom City one after another. Whoosh. Sword 13 flicked a piece of paper with the location of their residence written on it. As the third strongest expert of the Eternal Sword Tao Sacred Ground, it would be a joke if Sword 13 couldn't even control the Peach Blossom City. The men in black quickly disappeared from the street according to the location on Sword 13's paper. They didn't attract anyone's attention. The night was dark and the wind was strong. Even the guards couldn't be seen. Another group of experts rushed in from the city gate and quickly left after receiving a piece of parchment. 33 people. There are 16 left. Including me, there are exactly 50 people. Sword 13 stood proudly with his divine sword in hand. His eyes were like torches as he stared ahead. Whoosh, then, another 6 people left, leaving only Yi Qinghan's team. Looking at the moon trying to break free from the dark clouds, Sword 13 was anxious. This was the Peach Blossom City. If they were exposed, the Heaven Suppressing Palace would be able to detect them and their mission would be a failure. The Heaven Suppressing Palace was a ruthless force, otherwise, the Sword Tao sect would have acted long ago. If it weren't for Yi Qinghan's timely appearance, the Sword Tao sect would have had to wait for the Heaven Suppressing Palace to announce their betrayal. Shashasha. A strange sound startled Jian Shisan. He was lying on the edge of the city wall with a soul-stealing gaze as he looked carefully. Finally, he saw the 10 people who had arrived late. There was a beautiful flower on their shoulders, and they were all wearing bamboo hats. Who? Sword 13 breathed out a mouthful of turbid qi and flicked a piece of paper to Yi Qinghan. A sword ray flashed past and Yi Qinghan caught the paper. He opened it and quickly entered the city. Not long later, the city gate was sealed as if it was never opened. There were 2 guards standing at the inner gate of the city gate, as if they were asleep. The rest of the people were all in the inner room, sleeping like mortals, snoring and snoring, completely unaware that the city gate was already controlled by someone else. All of them had been knocked unconscious by Sword 13, and would probably wake up in the morning. Yi Qinghan handed the paper to Medicine King and came to a dark alley. He looked at the dark and quiet streets and occasionally, there would be patrols passing by. He looked at Sword 13 expressionlessly as he walked out from the dark. The entire city was so quiet that it made one's hair stand on end. We will rest during the day and travel during the night tomorrow. We will hide in the west of the Heaven Suppressing Palace in the Shihuan Mountain and attack at night. Sword 13 quickly explained. Yi Qinghan quickly asked, "Do you know where the prisoners in the Heaven Suppressing Palace are? I want to save the Lu family's people. They should be mining. I know the location. When the Heaven Suppressing Palace is destroyed, saving them will be as easy as lifting a finger. I will go with you." Sword 13 replied softly. Then, Yi Qinghan followed Sword 13 to an inn and stayed there. After a month of traveling, his body was sore and exhausted. Yi Qinghan cultivated for a moment and after adjusting his condition to his best state, he immediately fell asleep. The moonlight tore through the dark clouds and the city under the moonlight was like a paradise. 300 miles of peach blossoms, 300 miles of white. But as if the heavens had foreseen the bloodshed, the dark clouds covered the sky again and darkness descended. After dawn, the sky was slightly brighter, but it was drizzling non-stop. Almost no one was willing to go out. Yi Qinghan slept for an entire day. When he woke up, the sky was already dark. Move. Get them to change their clothes and change back when the battle starts. After Yi Qinghan secretly sent a voice transmission to Sword 13, the two of them immediately notified the others. The first batch of people quickly left the inn. They did not wear their bamboo hats, but they wore raincoats and cloaks. It was not strange for them to be in a rainy day. After half an incense stick's worth of time, another batch of people walked out and blended into the crowd. For the sake of survival, many adventurers would not stop their footsteps even if it was drizzling. 4 hours later, Yi Qinghan and Sword 13 left the Peach Blossom City with Yao Wang and disappeared into the mountain range ahead. I'll update 18 chapters first and continue tomorrow. Please subscribe to QQ, Mobile QQ, and Genesis Chinese Network. The more you subscribe, the more you'll explode. Brothers and sisters, it's up to you now. Chapter 1756. To the west of the heaven-suppressing palace was a mountain range, named Shihuan Mountain. The mountain range was rich in resources and minerals. The scenery in Shihuan Mountain was picturesque. Peach blossom trees could be seen everywhere, every 30 to 50 meters, and the season was just right. The peach blossoms bloomed in red and white, beautiful beyond words. 50 people were dressed in black, with beautiful flowers on their shoulders competing with the peach blossoms. Bamboo hats covered their faces, allowing the drizzle to wet their clothes. The 50 of them were hiding in a valley in Shihuan Mountain. It was very secluded and no one would come here. In addition to the rain, it was even more dangerous and no one was willing to come here. Now I will tell you the final mission. Destroy the heaven-suppressing palace. Those above the level of supreme deity will not be taken as captive. As for the rest, kill anyone who dares to resist. None of the heaven-suppressing palace's consecrators will be left alive. Kill them all. Jian Shisan stood at the front, glanced around and said solemnly, "Yes, sir." The 20-plus experts brought by Jian Shisan said in a low voice. Yi Qinghan looked at the people he brought. His voice became hoarse and dignified. Follow his orders. Don't worry about how strong the heaven-suppressing palace is. Let me tell you, among the 50 of you, the weakest is Realm Lord level 8 and Pill King is the weakest. As long as everyone works together, destroying the heaven-suppressing palace in one night is not a big deal. Furthermore, only I know your identities, not even this lord knows. So after this, all you need to do is to accept my rewards. I am not a stingy person, I am a person who knows how to repay kindness. I hope that tonight's mission will be a perfect success and I will bring all of you back. Yi Qinghan pointed at Jian Shisan and continued, among the participants, there are about 10 Realm Lord level 9 and above. There are only 2 in the heaven-suppressing palace. Everyone can foresee that this will be a one-sided battle. Yes, sir. Everyone shuddered. So many Realm Lord level 8 and above experts working together, this was unprecedented. Only the sacred grounds could do something like this. Everyone's confidence grew and rose. The white mist and drizzle covered thousands of miles. The rain grew heavier and heavier until it turned into a downpour. Darkness slowly gathered, and it was hard to see one's fingers. Pa-pa-pa-pa. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The heavy rain hit the tree leaves and mountain rocks like a flash flood. There was not even a sliver of moonlight. It was a moonless and windy night. The heavy rain collected the killing intent. Even the heavens were helping this group of people. Whoosh. 50 people took out their weapons at the same time, and more than 80% of them used divine sword. After all, this was the holy land of the sword, so it was not strange. The Medicine King used a cauldron and had thousands of poisons in his hands, killing people without leaving a trace. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists, but he didn't take out his night metal rod. He didn't want to reveal his identity. You can't expose yourself. The Sword Dao sect clearly didn't want to get involved in Yi Qinghan's feud with the other sacred lands, not to mention that Yi Qinghan had offended more than one sacred land. Yi Qinghan nodded and continued to wait. The rain became heavier and heavier. It was as if the heavens had been severed, and the flood was pouring down. Move out! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and led the group towards the heaven-suppressing palace. After adjusting their condition, they quickly approached the heaven-suppressing palace under the cover of the heavy rain. The heaven-suppressing palace city was raining heavily. The city gates were closed, and all the guards were hiding in their rooms, too lazy to even look outside. How would they know that danger was approaching? Come, let's make a bet. That's right, there's no need to be so nervous. It's raining heavily and the city gates are closed. No one will come this late. The guards gathered in a room and said loudly. More than 10 guards gathered together and began to play the simplest game of dice. The more they played, the more excited they became. Occasionally, they would look at the heavy rain outside the window. None of them saw a group of men in black approaching the city in the heavy rain. Sword 13 and Yi Qinghan rushed to the front and quickly approached the city wall. They gestured to the people behind them, asking them to send the two up the wall. The city wall was dozens of feet tall, and it was impossible to climb up without using force. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Taking advantage of the heavy rain, more than 10 experts formed a great Arhat formation. Whoosh, Yi Qinghan and Sword 13 moved like lightning. They stepped lightly on an expert's palm and leaped into the sky. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The two of them climbed up the great Arhat formation that was dozens of feet tall. Using force, they somersaulted in the air and rushed to the top of the city wall. There were only a few weaker guards on the city wall. They were bullied by the experts and had no choice but to watch the city in the rain. But the sky was too dark, and coupled with the fact that they were not in a good mood, they were not willing to do anything. Thus, they could not see Yi Qinghan and the others appearing at the city gates. Yi Qinghan and Sword 13 held onto the corner of the city wall at the same time and somersaulted up the city wall. One of the guards was pacing back and forth. A black shadow flashed and Yi Qinghan snapped the guard's neck. Yi Qinghan and Sword 13 crossed their hands and signaled each of them to kill all the guards on the city wall. Whoosh, the sword chi was silent. Accompanied by the heavy rain, the guards' souls were slaughtered and their bodies fell to the ground. Boom! Sword 13 charged into the room where the guards were gathered. With a sweep of his sword, the sword chi shredded the ordinary guards into pieces. Not a single one of them could resist. In the end, their faces were still filled with the joy of winning money. Yi Qinghan also swept through a house and killed all the guards on this side. The two of them gathered and quickly went down the city wall. They opened one of the city gates, and the rest of the black-robed men rushed into the city. There were only a few lanterns hanging high on the streets, emitting a weak white light. Sha sha sha. Hua hua hua. Yi Qinghan and Sword 13 each led a team and walked along the walls on both sides of the street. Before their swords were unsheathed, the murderous aura had already filled the air. Heaven-suppressing palace. Sword 13's eyes flashed coldly as he led the group towards their destination. Da-da-da. A team of guards cursed as they marched forward. Who would want to patrol in such bad weather? Shwa shwa shwa. Whoosh, Sword 13 swung his sword. Dozens of sword shadows were shot out from his sword, and he actually killed the entire patrol team. The group stepped over the corpses and rushed towards the city center. The heavy rain washed away the blood, leaving only a dozen cold corpses lying in the middle of the street. The group held onto their sword hilts, ready to unsheathe at any time. Pa pa pa. The group stepped into the rain, and the sound of their footsteps was ear-piercing. A head popped out from a room and saw the 50 black-robed men on the street. The head trembled in fear and fell to the ground, not daring to make a sound. They were getting closer and closer to the inner palace of the heaven-suppressing palace. Jian Shisan stomped on the ground, causing raindrops to splash everywhere like a divine sword. He unsheathed the sword in his hand and swung it horizontally, tearing apart the void and killing the 4 guards outside of the heaven-suppressing palace. Even the palace's gates were severed. Boom! The city wall collapsed. The 50 black-robed men rushed into the inner palace of the heaven-suppressing palace. Subscription not enough, please support? Chapter 19. Chapter 1757. The 50 of them charged into the manor with their swords drawn. Their swords tore through the darkness and killed anyone they saw. At this moment, no one knew who would dare to charge into the heaven-suppressing palace. Some of the consecrators who didn't know the situation rushed out, but before they could even shout, they were killed by Sword 13 and Yi Qinghan. Sword 13's sword was like a sword from hell, killing with a single strike. Yi Qinghan's iron fists were like divine weapons. His fists were covered with poisonous insects. With a single punch, he directly pierced through the throat of a sector lord. Blood stained his black robe and bamboo hat, but as the rain poured down, the blood was quickly washed clean. Boom! Yi Qinghan was like a human killing machine. His fists, elbows, legs, they could all reap the lives of others. Boom! Sword 13's sword pierced through a few courtyards. Some were crushed before they could even get out of their houses. His sword Qi tore through their flesh and blood, turning them into a rain of blood. Under the leadership of the 2, the remaining 40 or so people swept through the area with lightning speed. Everything was flattened. Enemy attack! A roar pierced through the sky and the rain poured down. Boom! The heaven-suppressing palace was in chaos. Hundreds of experts were awakened from their closed-door cultivation, and they immediately rushed out. When they saw Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan leading dozens of experts, they were immediately enraged. Bastard, you are courting death! Boom! A sector lord level 9 expert charged towards Yi Qinghan as fast as lightning with a thunderous rage. However, Qin Fenghua stopped him directly. Qin Fenghua underestimated this person's strength and was forced to work with another sector lord level 9 expert to stop him. Yi Qinghan was shocked as he didn't expect this person to be so strong. Xiao, behind Sword 13, another great expert at the 9th level of the sword path charged over. He made a move to seize the soul, and every move was a killing move. He even charged over from behind with a method of mutual destruction. Xiao. 3 swords stirred up the rain and formed a whirlpool. The sword Dao level 9 expert pierced through the whirlpool and arrived beside the expert. Boom! The 4th expert swordsman attacked. It was 4 against 1, and in the blink of an eye, he was at a disadvantage. Puchi! Whoosh whoosh whoosh! 50 of them. The sector lord level 8 experts split up into groups of 3, forming a reincarnation path of slaughter. Like chopping vegetables, they killed anyone they saw. They were like devils. Hundreds of experts clashed and the heaven-suppressing palace was flattened. Everyone wanted to render meritorious service, and the group of people brought by Sword 13 were clearly machines born to kill, without any feelings to speak of. 2 more 9th-level experts rushed out from the heaven-suppressing palace and stared at the battlefield in anger. Who are you? How dare you offend the heaven-suppressing palace? The sector lord level 9 pinnacle glared at Sword 13 and Yi Qinghan and asked coldly. As expected, there were hidden experts in the heaven-suppressing palace. Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan exchanged a glance and each of them went after the other. Boom! Yi Qinghan crushed rocks with his feet and punched the air, transforming into a flood dragon. Open! With a punch, the blue demon fire burned the rain into nothingness and headed straight for one of the sector lord level 9 experts. You're courting death. The expert was enraged. He unsheathed his divine sword and the sword ray attracted lightning, lighting up the sky as bright as day. The entire heaven-suppressing palace fell into war. Boom! Jian Shisan was like a coiling dragon, flying in the void for a short period of time, almost teleporting, circling around another Sector Lord Level 9 expert. The 3 Sector Lord Level 9 experts in the heaven-suppressing palace were indeed strong. One of them was surrounded by Qin Fenghua and the other 3 and was unharmed, while the other 2 were on par with Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan. The 3 battles were so intense that the Sector Lord Level 8 experts couldn't even breathe. Medicine King held a handful of poison, crushed it and flew into the void, mixing it with the rain and sprinkling it on the ground. You've been contaminated by the corrosive powder. As long as you touch the poison-exterminating god worms, you'll die for sure. Medicine King held the cauldron and opened it, revealing the poisonous insects crawling inside. Go! The King of Medicine threw out the poisonous bugs. They were as hard as steel, and even sword chi could not shatter them. Their fangs could even bite through the defenses of divine power. These were poisonous bugs that the King of Medicine had specially cultivated to kill experts. HHH, a mournful scream reverberated through the clouds. Closely after, a Sector Lord Level 7 expert fell to the ground, his body twitching. His face was twisted and one could even see his bloodline churning. His crystal-clear body instantly turned black and his flesh started to rot. These poisonous insects were controlled by Medicine King, they wouldn't attack their own people and were almost invisible in the rain. Not long later, a group of experts was bitten by the insects. Heaven-suppressing palace suffered heavy losses, the Sector Lord Level 9 experts were all stopped and there were no experts to stop the other Sector Lord Level 9 experts from attacking. The gap between the two sides grew bigger. Boom! Yi Qinghan's punch caused the world weapon to tremble and forced the Sector Lord Level 9 expert back. His hat was shattered but his face was covered by the poisonous insects, his face couldn't be seen. The Sector Lord Level 9 expert's face was filled with shock and he looked at the others. None of them had the upper hand and one of them was even surrounded by 5 experts of the same level. He couldn't even escape. Yi Qinghan stared at the experts and his killing intent grew stronger. Who are you? Let's talk. The Sector Lord Level 9 quickly showed weakness. All of you stop. At this moment, an expert rushed out from the city. He wore the Sword Dao Sect's uniform and was a deacon of the Sword Dao Sect, one of the older generation experts. Jian Shisan didn't want to expose his identity and ordered a sword expert not far away. Kill him! Xiao, the black-robed expert's sword was like a rainbow and he charged forward, piercing through the Sword Dao Sect's deacon expert. The heaven-suppressing palace's people were shocked as they didn't think that these people would dare to kill someone from the Sword Dao Sect. Furthermore, the deacon was a Sword Dao Sect's deacon expert and he was killed just like that. Yi Qinghan's divine power slowly gathered and veins popped out all over his body. He squinted his eyes and his aura grew stronger and stronger. Roar! Yi Qinghan transformed into a dragon and soared into the sky. His aura soared to the heavens. Boom! The dragon turned into a huge whirlpool and wrapped the Sector Lord Pinnacle expert within. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break through Yi Qinghan's defense. Roar! The dragon swooped down and pressed down on the expert, crushing his legs into the ground. Xiao, the Sector Lord Pinnacle expert, didn't want to sit still and he charged into the sky to fight Yi Qinghan head-on. Boom! Hua! The moment Yi Qinghan clashed with his opponent, blue demon fire burst out from his body and engulfed his opponent. The blue demon fire could burn everything and the 5th-grade demon fire could burn through 9 layers of a realm lord's defense. A shrill scream startled the heaven-suppressing palace's experts and consecrators, causing them to have thoughts of running away. Blood dyed the heaven-suppressing palace red, and along with the heavy rain, the stench of blood filled the air. The heaven-suppressing palace's army surrounded the inner palace, but no one dared to charge in. Chapter 1758. Die. Yi Qinghan's qi turned into a dragon that blotted out the sun. With the dark gold rod in his hand, he swung it across and a huge part of the heaven-suppressing palace collapsed. Boom! Yi Qinghan swung his rod down and the ground cracked. It's you. As soon as the dark gold rod was swung out, the man immediately recognized Yi Qinghan's identity. But before he could shout out, he was killed by the rod and his soul was extinguished. Xiao. Yi Qinghan returned his rod back into the oilcloth, and the fire dragon disappeared, as if he never attacked. Pu Ci. Jian Shisan's divine sword turned into 3 slashes and struck the second realm lord level 9 expert's throat, chest and dantian. The expert was stunned and his sword fell out of his hand. Only when he died did he realize who his opponent was. This was Jian Shisan's fatal move, one that was sure to kill. Wangu Qingtian Jian Shisan had a total of 13 sword moves, and each move was more vicious and cruel than the one before. No more than 13 slashes and the enemy would definitely die. No one in the same level could survive the 13th move. Jian Shisan did not sheath his sword and instead, he charged into the crowd. Pu Ci. Boom! Xiao xiao xiao! Hua hua hua! The sword rays tore through the darkness, and the heaven-suppressing palace suffered countless casualties. The weaker ones were caught in the crossfire and the side halls were destroyed. The group started to flee, but Jian Shisan had no intention of leaving anyone alive. Today, the heaven-suppressing palace must be annihilated. Kill. Leave no one alive. Xiao. The 20 people he brought with him spread out and each of their swords reaped the lives of their enemies. Boom! The last realm lord pinnacle expert in the heaven-suppressing palace was killed by the 5 of them. His soul was shattered and taken away by the reincarnation hell. Without the support of the realm lord level 9 experts, the heaven-suppressing palace's experts were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. But they were not fast enough. Some of them had just made it out of the palace when they were pierced by the swords and their corpses were torn apart. The rainwater around the heaven-suppressing palace was red and corpses were piled up like mountains. There were over 300 consecrators and over 200 experts in the palace. But in just one night, more than half of them were dead. The army on the periphery fled frantically. They were so frightened by these 50 black-robed men that their Tao hearts collapsed. Yi Qinghan crushed a mountain rock with his foot. His figure flashed and intercepted the army. He looked down at everyone and asked coldly, "Who is the commander of the army?" Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They couldn't even hold their weapons steadily and fell to their knees one after another. "I am the vice-commander of the Western Army. The commander has been killed by you." A sector lord level 5 knelt on the ground in fear as he replied. "What's your name?" Yi Qinghan asked. That person trembled in fear and hurriedly replied, "Sir, this lowly one is called Ching Luo," Yi Qinghan said coldly. "Ching Luo, from now on, you are the commander of the West Garrison Army. Bring your men and lock down the heaven-suppressing palace. Kill anyone who dares to escape." When Ching Luo heard this, he was overjoyed. Since Yi Qinghan had said so, not only would he be able to keep his life, he would also be promoted. "This lowly one will definitely not let you down." "Don't worry, sir." The city guards quickly betrayed. It wasn't because they were trash but because Yi Qinghan and his men were too terrifying. With so many top-notch existences gathered, there were more than 10 sector lords level 9 and above. Even the city wouldn't be able to withstand the attacks of so many people. At this point, resistance was futile as death was the only way out for them. Some saw that they couldn't escape and immediately surrendered. "We are just consecrators, We have nothing to do with the heaven-suppressing palace. Please have mercy, we are willing to pledge our loyalty to you. A Sector Lord Level 8 brought 4 Sector Lord Level 7 experts and tried to break through but to no avail. Thus, they gave up and half-knelt on the street, waiting for their punishment. Jian Shursan raised his hand and made a killing gesture. The black-robed experts surrounding them raised their hands and swung their swords down, killing the 5 of them. No need for captives. The same goes for consecrators. Yi Qinghan looked at Jian Shursan's gesture and shook his head. He initially wanted to use these people to help him manage the heaven-suppressing palace, but now it seemed like he had no choice but to recruit new people. 10 hours later, the sky brightened up and the noises in the heaven-suppressing palace's inner palace gradually disappeared. No one came out from the city and the streets were empty like a dead city. No one even dared to open their windows. It was too scary and no one wanted to be tainted by karma. The hundreds of consecrators in the heaven-suppressing palace and the 800+ experts above the level of Supreme God were all killed. Their corpses were piled up outside the heaven-suppressing palace's inner palace gate. Reporting, the numbers are accurate. Apart from Western Zhentian and a few others in the Holy City, there are a few more Supreme Gods and 1 more Pinnacle Sector Lord. The information is accurate. A black-clothed man knelt in front of Jian Shursan and reported respectfully. Jian Shursan nodded and said calmly, "Find a place to burn them and bury them." Yes. The black-robed man left. Yi Qinghan looked at the inner palace of the heaven-suppressing palace and found nothing special. He didn't understand why they recruited so many consecrators. At this time, Jian Shursan stepped forward and stood side by side with Yi Qinghan. He pointed towards the south and said solemnly, "That is where the heaven-suppressing palace's mechanisms are located. The heaven-suppressing palace's treasury is there and it is surrounded by mechanisms and arrays. Houses are being built but no one lives there. Let's go have a look." With that, Yi Qinghan and Jian Shursan headed towards the south. They were all in the heaven-suppressing palace city, but there was not a single soul in sight. It was indeed strange. Some of the guards in the dark manor had already escaped as they didn't dare to stay any longer. The 2 continued their journey and no one stopped them. When they entered the South Street, they found that it was truly an empty city, a dead city. There wasn't a single person in sight and every room was empty. Yi Qinghan frowned and stomped lightly on the ground. He found that the ground 20 meters underground was empty. Yi Qinghan's divine senses couldn't reach down and only then did he find out that there was something wrong with this area. Let's look for the entrance. There must be something wrong with this place. Jian Shursan was also curious. The Sword Dao sect had always wanted to investigate this area, but there was no news about it. Even if they sent spies to sneak in, they never came out again. The 2 slowly moved forward with divine weapons in their hand. They were extremely cautious. Not long later, the 2 arrived at a huge mountain. There was a dragon-tiger stone statue in front of them, and there was no other path. Yi Qinghan tried to move the dragon-tiger stone sculpture, and discovered that a huge door had appeared on the cliff. It was 30 meters wide and 10 feet tall. Inside, it was dark and gloomy, sending chills down one's spine. Jian Shursan was excited and was about to step in with his sword in hand. At this time, the divine bird ran out and quickly warned, "It's dangerous inside. Don't go in." Yi Qinghan frowned and looked at the divine bird. He asked, "What danger? I can't believe you're scared." The divine bird shook its head and said in confusion, "I don't know. I only know that it's best not to go underground. Otherwise, we won't be able to come up." Jian Shursan didn't believe it and said proudly, "If you and I work together, even if there is a half-step eternal expert inside, we can still break out." Yi Qinghan was also very confident. He could use the dark gold rod in here. There was no need for him to care too much. He directly stepped into the darkness with Jian Shursan. The divine bird's feathers stood on end and it cursed in horror. you bunch of lunatics. Are you looking for death? It's really dangerous inside. However, the two of them walked forward with firm steps. Chapter 1759. The divine bird cursed, but it couldn't stop the two kings from moving forward. The walls on both sides of the tunnel weren't made of stone, but steel. The material was so tough that even the fifth-grade godly fire couldn't destroy it. Who would have thought that the heaven-suppressing palace would build such a huge project right under our noses? Jian Shisan said in shock as he touched the steel wall. Yi Qinghan was also shocked by the aura here. He touched the material and realized that the wall wasn't built recently. The order on the wall contained endless vicissitudes of time, indicating that this place had been built for countless years. Dong dong dong. Yi Qinghan's heart started beating very quickly, just like the heart of a dragon, strong and powerful. Danger! Yi Qinghan was shocked. He held the dark gold rod in front of his chest and whispered, "Be careful, don't trigger the traps." Xiao. Just as Yi Qinghan finished speaking, a hidden weapon streaked across the air like a bolt of lightning. It was many times faster than a human's speed. Boom! Pung! Jian Shisan was shocked. Relying on his intuition, he blocked with his sword in front of his chest. A poison dart pierced through the natal divine sword in his hand. The powerful impact directly blasted him out of the passageway, crashing into the ground fiercely. The poison dart was only a millimeter away from his chest. His entire arms were twisted by the force of the impact, almost collapsing. Boom! Before Yi Qinghan could react, a five-fingered palm print rushed out from the tunnel, shattering the void and grabbing at his head. As if it carried an inviolable will, Jian Shisan's blood essence stagnated and he couldn't use his divine power. Boom! Yi Qinghan roared and raised his dark metal staff with all his might. When it collided with the five-fingered palm print, it was as if it had collided with the peak of the blue dome of heaven. It didn't have the slightest effect. Instead, he was sent flying by the terrifying force of the five-fingered palm print. His 8 extraordinary meridians and 5 viscera and 6 bowels were all shaken out of their positions. Pung! Pooh! Yi Qinghan was sent flying, blood spurting out from his mouth. The force he endured was definitely stronger than Jian Shisan. Boom! Yi Qinghan's staff smashed into the ground, but it was still unable to stop him from flying backwards. He drew out a large ditch on the ground and fell behind Sword 13. Blood stained his divine robes, the web between his thumb and forefinger ruptured, and he was in a sorry state. Before they could even see what the enemy looked like, the two of them were already severely injured. Their faces were pale as they stared at the entrance of the cave, their eyes filled with horror. A half-step eternal sovereign. There's a half-step eternal overlord in the heaven-suppressing palace? How is this possible? Jian Shisan shouted in disbelief. Cough cough. Yi Qinghan coughed up blood and struggled to his feet. He leaned on his twilight metal staff and watched as 2 shadows emerged from the cave. One was clearly a savage beast, the other a human. Roar! The ferocious beast was like a wolf. Its limbs were shriveled as if it had been dead for countless years. It was about 1 meter tall and its fangs were as long as chopstick. The cold glint in its eyes was like a blade. It was eerie and terrifying. The red light in its eyes was filled with greed. A black-robed old man walked out from behind the ferocious beast. His skin was wrinkled, and it was hard to tell how long he had lived. His eyes were sunken in, deep like a black hole. The baleful aura he exuded was so strong that Jian Shisan and Yi Qinghan could barely breathe. You! Jian Shisan inhaled a breath of cold air, at a loss. The man in front of him was indeed a half-step eternal sovereign, and the pressure he exuded was almost the same as Lord Sword. It was clear that this man's strength was far beyond ordinary half-step eternal sovereigns. People from the Sword Dao sect. The old man's voice was hoarse and emotionless. It was like the voice of a machine, sending chills down one's spine. Jian Shisan felt that his heart no longer belonged to him, and his blood could no longer flow. Yi Qinghan was in a similar situation. His dragon blood had gone out of control and could explode at any time. The divine bird had already cursed the two countless times, but at this moment, it did not dare to make the slightest move. I am Jian Shisan. My teacher is a sword Tao great eternal sovereign. Jian Shisan inhaled a breath of cold air. He could only bring out the name of an eternal sovereign, hoping to intimidate the man in front of him. The old man sneered and said disdainfully, "You want to scare me with an eternal sovereign? I dare not." Jian Shisan hurriedly bowed and replied. While Jian Shisan was buying time, Yi Qinghan hurriedly swallowed some saint herbs, hoping to relieve the injuries in his body. Gradually, he regained control of his body. The bamboo hat on his body was blown to pieces, revealing his pale face. However, this old man did not know Yi Qinghan, which meant that he had been hiding here for countless years. The half-step eternal sovereigns were obviously afraid of eternal sovereigns. If he really killed Jian Shisan, the youngest disciple of an eternal sovereign, once the eternal sovereign attacked, he would have no chance to escape. The old man stared at the two for a long time, feeling very unwilling. He discovered this underground palace, but before he could study it, it was discovered by others. His path was cut off just like that. As the saying goes, before you beat a dog, you have to look at its owner. The heaven-suppressing palace was a dog raised by this old man, and I gave you so many offerings every year. Why did you destroy it? The old man asked coldly. Jian Shisan and Yi Qinghan obviously did not dare to speak the truth, fearing that they would anger the old man in front of them. Senior, the heaven-suppressing palace's actions were too outrageous, causing the sect master to order a clean house. If you think there's a problem, you can talk to my senior martial brother, Jian Shisan said in a muffled voice. The old man was secretly furious. It seemed like his dog was too arrogant and ruined his plans. If that's the case, this old man will choose a new dog. I will pay double the previous profits to the Sword Tao sect. You can pretend that nothing happened and leave the heaven-suppressing palace, the old man said with a hoarse voice. However, Jian Shisan was unwilling to leave. There must be something wrong with this underground palace, so he said firmly, Senior, I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. The order to kill the heaven-suppressing palace and take back all the resources in the heaven-suppressing palace's territory is my master's idea. Senior, please leave. Yi Qinghan looked at the old man vigilantly, fearing that he would suddenly explode. Jian Shisan relied on the support of an eternal being and forced the half-step eternal being to back down. Both sides were ready to fight and killing intent filled the air. The ferocious black wolf bared its fangs and looked at the two, licking its fangs. Its bloodlust was even more obvious as it approached the two tentatively. The old man clenched his fists, burning with anger. Although he was unwilling, he did not dare to fight against an eternal being and could only choose to compromise. Big Black, since they don't welcome us, let's pack up and leave. The old man smiled. His smile made Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan's hair stand on end, and they took a few more steps back vigilantly. Yi Qinghan saw the old man bringing Big Black back to the underground palace and immediately called his subordinates to rush over. 50 people, none of them were missing, only 2 or 3 of them were injured. It was not a big deal. Dong 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 dong. Half an hour later, the old man brought Big Black back to everyone's sight, looking at him with an evil smile. The 50 people were so shocked that they retreated, not even having the courage to draw their sword. Please promote, recommend, rate. Please subscribe. There's more. Chapter 1760. The old man brought Big Black out of the passage with an evil smile on his face. He was clearly standing in front, but it was as if he was looking at flowers in the fog. There are many secrets inside. You might go crazy from shock. The old man looked at the crowd and reminded them in a hoarse voice. With that, the old man left behind a strange sneer and quickly left with the big black beast. Wherever he passed, the heavy rain retreated. His aura was restrained, but no one dared to look directly at him. Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan looked at each other and shivered. Only now did they understand how much they were lacking when facing a true invincible sovereign. The two of them couldn't help but look at the back of the old man. Only when they saw him disappear did they heave a sigh of relief. Everyone only felt sore all over. They couldn't even use a trace of strength after being stared at by the old man. This kind of existence was truly terrifying. After the old man left, everyone looked at the passage. Previously, Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan walked in without hesitation. But now, looking at the passage again, even though they knew that the terrifying existence inside had left, they still didn't dare to enter. Especially the last sentence left by the old man, it was even more terrifying. Should we go in or not? Jian Shisan couldn't make up his mind at the moment. He could only look at Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan also had lingering fears. He didn't know what era that old thing was from. He was even careless when mentioning the eternal being. Even though he was scared away by the eternal being, the fear he brought was still pervading. It should be very dangerous, but if I don't go in now, I won't have the chance to go in when the Sword Dao sect takes over. Yi Qinghan thought to himself. As the saying goes, wealth comes from danger. How can one catch a tiger cub without entering the tiger's den? Go in. Yi Qinghan replied in a deep voice. The Medicine King was somewhat unwilling, but Yi Qinghan had already gone in. If he didn't go in because he was weak, wouldn't Yi Qinghan look down on him? Helpless, the Medicine King could only bring his 12 puppet slaves and follow closely behind. The few of you stay outside. Don't go in. Yi Qinghan arrived at the passageway and looked at Qin Fenghua, Yu Tsongxing, and the others. His tone was calm but commanding. Qin Fenghua did not want to go in either. After all, this place was too creepy, so they all stood guard outside the door. Sword 13 looked at the 20 people behind him and said to the 2-sector Lord Level 9 experts, "You two follow me in, the rest guard outside the cave. If the cave is sealed, you can move the dragon tiger statue. If I die inside, inform the sect leader and ask my master to come out." "Yes." The men in black replied in unison. Thus, Jian Shisan brought the 2 great experts and Yi Qinghan and the others into the passage. Yi Qinghan used the 2 slave puppets to walk at the front. At this time, it was not selfish, but sometimes it was necessary to sacrifice some people. Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan walked at the back. The Pill King was also at the side. The rest of the people stood at the very front. At the very end of the passage, a few long-lasting lamps appeared. They had burned for who knew how many years, still burning even now. The dark passage kept turning. At every turn, there was a long-lasting lamp. After 3 turns, a huge underground palace appeared. At the entrance, there was a stone tablet. There were a few ancient words carved on it. It did not seem to be from this era but could be understood. Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan quickly walked forward. Suddenly, they felt their faces burning. It was as if countless bugs were crawling in their bodies. That horror surpassed everything. Eternal Sovereign Tomb, trespassers die. The rune's aura soared into the sky. The weak couldn't stare at them. Even the strong felt their souls being brought into a special space after looking for a long time. Eternal sovereigns, everyone knew that they were eternal. As long as heaven and earth were immortal, they were immortal. They couldn't even be killed. Even if 2 eternal sovereigns fought, it was impossible for them to die. That was why the Saint Emperor of Central Earth sealed an eternal sovereign in hell. This eternal sovereign tomb told everyone that eternal sovereigns were not immortal. If the corpse of the eternal sovereign was found in this underground palace and the true cause of death of the eternal sovereign was studied, the world would change. Eternal sovereigns might no longer be high and mighty and could even be killed. Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan looked at each other in dismay. Their breathing was rapid and the emotions in their eyes were very complicated. Since Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan could recognize the words on it, this group of people would definitely be able to recognize it as well. But this matter could not be leaked. Otherwise, it would cause chaos in the world. This place would also become a place that eternal sovereigns would fight for. Roar! Jian Shisan moved his sword sheath, wanting to kill everyone and prevent this news from being exposed. Woo woo! Yi Qinghan gently moved the dark gold rod in his hand, causing the underground palace to rumble. Hua! Yi Qinghan took a slight step back, maintaining a vigilant posture. The killing intent in his eyes was restrained and there was not much change. Jian Shisan took a deep breath and stared at Yi Qinghan. With the battle strength of the two of them, if they really fought to the death, both of them would suffer. Moreover, the Medicine King might not help him. In order to protect himself, he would not help Yi Qinghan and would only benefit from it. You should understand that this matter cannot be exposed. The fewer people who know about it, the better, Jian Shisan said in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan stared at Jian Shisan. He could feel the killing intent on Jian Shisan's body, but he faintly reminded him, "You are right, but the half-step Eternal Sovereign who just left knows about this news. Even if we fight to the death here and kill the person who knows about it, he will eventually expose this matter one day." Who, after this sentence, the few people brought by the Medicine King who were still sober couldn't help but exhale a mouthful of turbid air. They were really afraid that Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan would kill them. Jian Shisan hesitated for a moment, and the sword in his hand gradually sank. "Everyone, I think you understand that if this news spreads out, the whole world will fall into war. You can't escape your fate. So if you want to live better, I advise you not to leak it. What's more, if you leak it to the Eternal Sovereigns and half-step Eternal Sovereigns, in order to keep this secret, will they spare you?" Yi Qinghan glanced at the crowd and reminded them in a low voice, including Sir Shisan, "If you really inform the Sword Dao Eternal Sovereign about this matter, can you guarantee that your master will believe you 100%? Will he bet his life that you won't betray him? If it were you, would you be willing to put your life in the hands of others? People are selfish. In order to protect this news, the Eternal Sovereigns will definitely kill all the people who know about it. You and I can't escape." Everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. They didn't expect that when they saw these words, it meant that their life and death were no longer in their own hand. Just when Jian Shisan was convinced, Yi Qinghan secretly transmitted his voice. "Sir Shisan, do you believe your subordinates? Once they betray us, we will definitely die. The Eternal Sovereigns won't believe us, so, this group of people must die. Only the two of us know this secret, including the Medicine King and his subordinates. Let them be buried here. How about it?" Jian Shisan's eyes flashed, and he secretly nodded, his killing intent rising. Chapter 23. Support and subscribe. Thank you very much. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.